Holy shit, it buzzed. What's going on? What's going on? Who did the thing? Oh, I'm going live at the same time as Lords of the Night. That's what the thing was. Ah, late again. Yes, Polly is late again, but that's fine. Um, to be quite frank, I did cancel last week's show. So unfortunately, uh, this is, I guess, adequate payback. um, I okay. So to offer up an explanation for why we canceled last week's show and why I couldn't come up with an adequate alternate time. You see, let's see. Saturday, I had some internet slash electricity issues, and apparently they're supposed to come back on Monday. It's what my dad had told me. Uh, so we're having work done essentially on the that shenanigans, which means that the internet will go out, which means that I won't have it on Monday. I don't think for a time. Um, and I don't know how long it's going to last. Is the problem, and our internet for whatever reason is just really annoying in its connectivity and how long it does. And yeah, I need to yell at the internet service provider, or I would if it were going to be my problem for several months on end. But it's only like another half a month that I will have to deal with this. So I think I can live with shitty internet until I move out and in with boyfriendo. So that's why we had to cancel. And then the reason why we didn't reschedule, well, we didn't really I didn't have a good day to reschedule to. Monday was Polly's birthday. Sunday was work. So it wouldn't have worked. Tuesday I worked also, and then there was all of that drama on Tuesday. Wednesday I pulled a double as well, and then Thursday I had scheduled video game night, but I was just feeling so crappy from other events that had transpired during the week that just I was we ended up watching Gotham by Gaslight instead in the Discord, which is fine. The people that were present, I think, rather enjoyed the movie because it was their first time seeing it. I've already seen it, but because I have the DC Universe subscription, uh, it worked out that they got to enjoy a little piece of something that I'm passionate about for a change, as opposed to when I am the one that's viewing everyone else's shenanigans. So there's that. Yes, these are new glasses. These are my first ever pair of glasses, actually, as Eve has so lovingly pointed out in the chat. And I have to say, I do look half decent with them. It feels nice to be able to see again. We'll talk about all of that in a second once I finish updating everybody. Yes, I am still working on the Thaw Patrol video. It's not done yet. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I had planned to get it out by this weekend, but things came up, and again, we will talk about that. That made concentrating on the Thought Patrol secondary to other concerns, and again, we'll get into that. Um, so I didn't get as much of a chance to finish the script and the editing and the recording, but it hopefully will be out by next week, and that comes with the merchandise as well. I really took on an ambitious pursuit when I decided to do the Thought Patrol that I'm doing right now. I know I keep hyping it up and then disappointing you all with like, oh, it'll be out by this date, I promise you, and it's been a week and a half and it hasn't come out yet. I feel so shitty because oh god, I feel so shitty. But hopefully this explanation can alleviate some of that shitty feeling. Hopefully. Anyway, yes, I have glasses now, and I wear these every day, all of the time. This is the new look. This is the new Weebo. And the only reason I do that is because I like to be able to see. Apparently, I couldn't see beforehand. Hi, Daphne. Hello, sweet child. Hello. Yes, she is coming to visit. Say hi, Daphne. Here, let me lower this so that you guys can see her. Hello, my sweet child. Yes. Hi. Um, we have been hanging out together all week. Oh, another thing too is, so because I was pulling doubles and I'm the only one at the house right now, she got lonely. She got really lonely, and I had to make other accommodations for her next week when I pull my doubles. That allows her not to be super lonely for 16 hours a day, because she's a golden retriever. So she's a social dog. She likes to be able to hang out with her mama, but I couldn't do that, even though I had someone come in to feed her. So she stopped eating out of her bowl completely, and I had to actually physically hand feed her kibble. Hi, Polly.
Hello.
Oh, she's laying down now.
How's it
How are
going?
you?
Yeah.
I'm doing much better than I was earlier in the week. I will say that.
That's good.
Although I had a little bit of a migraine, like on this side of the head, and I have no idea why. I started having it yesterday, and it's persisted today. I've taken 4 Advil, which is a lot. I'm aware, but that's how much I needed. So stop judging me, everybody. How are you, Polly?
Oh, I'm doing all right.
We're just giving everyone updates on stuff on my week.
You want to talk about Ruth Gator Binsberg for like a hot minute, and then you can put it in like the description and.
Yeah, sure. So Ruth Ruth Gaber Binsberg died, and she's dead now. So everyone's losing their collective shit.
Yeah, I mean, I got people noticing people out there saying some really harsh shit, like kind of uncalled for shit. Actually, it's like,
Yeah.
wow, why don't you guys take it a little bit further?
Mm-hmm.
Like, in terms of like, oh, if there is a God, I've been praying for her death forever, etc. Like, I was reading a bunch of people talking about that, and it's like, wow, you guys are being real dicks.
And then there are people
whatever,
super pissed that she didn't retire before, like during the Obama administration, apparently. And so
that's a legitimate
she just
position.
died in the middle of. She had the nerve to go and die during Trump's administration. What the fuck?
Yeah,
how dare
Twitter squads are going to carry on the way that they're gonna, right? It's like she'll last forever and it's going to kill Trump, and like people with these really really hot takes, and then all of a sudden now that she dies this close to an election, and she's, what the hell was she thinking? Oh, fuck off.
She was. Oh, Jesus Christ, people.
She was an old woman. And sick as hell, and I see people taking the position that Supreme Court justices with terminal illnesses, there should be provisions for the possibility of a vote to replace them. Yeah, not unreasonable.
Well, I guess yeah. If their illness prevents them from actually delivering a sound judgment with like all of the sound logic behind it, then sure, but.
Yeah. Let's call her RGB a whole bunch of times. It seems to drive people up the wall, which is kind of fun.
RGB. I thought it was.
It was
I thought her middle name was Bader.
No, it's Gator. I've seen people type RGB so many times. It's like, man, you guys really are deep into the computer shit, aren't you? They're going with the red, green, blue thing.
Yeah, I know.
Like out of accident, and it's like, okay, cool, but don't expect me not to call her Ruth Gator Binsberg then.
Why the 3 names though?
I don't know. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, John Wilkes Booth, Lee Harvey Oswald. It seems to be a pattern.
I don't like it. Should Weebo
Notorious
have a middle
people,
name?
am I right?
Should I give myself a middle name? Like, I already have a middle name. None of you will ever know it. But should I give my online persona, I guess, a middle name? And if I did, what do you guys suggest? That's a good question to ask the chat. Let's get some spicy activity in the chat.
Weebo Gertrude Jones.
Is it because of the glasses?
Yes. And with Gertrude, you could go with Gertie. How attractive of a name is that?
I'm actually torn because it could be really cute, but it also could be at the same time really ugly. I guess it depends on
Okay.
the face that is attached to the Gertie. I went in and I grabbed a bonus beer before I came on stream.
What? Does your dad know you're drinking his beer?
I don't think he cares. I drink
I
it in
didn't
front of
even
him all the
deny
time.
that it's his. I love it so much.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, it's fine though.
That man, okay, so I have adopted that man's exact taste too. It's funny, him and my boyfriend both drink the same beer, Coors Light. Of course, he also drinks Stella, and I drink Stella as well. But it's like, you drink what you grow up with. So I'll drink a Corona too if I had any, but he's less about the Coronas and more about the Stellas and the Coors. That's just his taste, and so it happened to become my taste because that's what we have. And I'm too lazy to go out and buy something else when I like this perfectly fine. So here we are drinking this. Suck on my pee-pee. Is it his beer if she's already drunk it? Asks Punisher. No, because I'm not giving it back, and he can't take it back. I don't think he minds.
Pete's got a point. Every man cares when someone drinks their beer. Yeah.
No, not my dad, because I'm his little girl, his number one helper, his peanut.
Okay, there's a difference between him caring and him not wanting to voice his cares.
I think he's just glad that I'm a normal kid now and adult person who drinks, and not one who resisted against all temptations for 2 years straight when in college and was the weird kid that just didn't drink and didn't have a social life. I had a social life, but I just didn't drink, and he found it really weird.
Huh.
Yeah. Because now we can socialize properly on vacation. So while he's getting shit-faced, I can also get shit-faced. We can just have that good time.
The Polish, huh? They can only socialize through alcohol. My God.
Well, okay, it's not that we can only socialize through alcohol. It's that we can only tolerate each other in large swaths of people for long amounts of time while intoxicated. Well, you have to understand, Polys, I come from a very large family clan, right? So while there are only 3 members of like my main family, being my dad, my brother, and myself, we're not counting his girlfriend. There are a more a less directly connected collective of us. So that would be my grandparents, or my grandmother, my grandfather as well, but he's gone. And then my dad's sister, her husband, their 3 kids. Like we have this like little pack, like wolves, and we all get together quite frequently. And while we're all very pleasant in small doses, they're usually for very long periods of time. So alcohol helps to mitigate all of the fighting that otherwise would probably occur. Because we're all very strongly opinionated people and very loud because we're Polish.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And that's not even all of the family. That's just the main clan. We have side clans too. Like we have the Joneses, and then we have the Smiths, and the Millers, and the Tanners, the O'Connors. Like there are a whole bunch of families. We all make up the one clan. It's a very large family. I shudder at the thought of how many people I'm going to have to invite to my wedding. It's a lot of people.
Yeah, that's why I'm planning to elope.
Yeah. Does the future Mrs. Dub agree with you on that?
I plan to persuade.
Okay. You got to be very persuasive, and then even then it might not work.
I'll fill her head with nightmares visions of mother-in-law. True or not, it's not the point. I mean, you have no idea. Just go on and on and on. I think that'll scare most women into going along with pretty
You
much
have
anything.
no idea. The table centerpieces. They won't be your decorations by the end when the wedding actually happens, all right? My mother will have just shoved herself into the situation and decided against your wishes what it is that she wanted for centerpieces, and then like go into a whole bunch of detail about the centerpieces and how all of that shit will culminate into just one large breakdown, and it's just not worth it. So you should just elope.
That, yeah, but also years and years worth of fiction of stories. I don't know how true they are of mothers-in-laws is approaching future daughter-in-laws is and telling them terrible things. I don't know how many television shows and movies and books I've come across the years where some woman is saying, she was terrible. You know, at our wedding, she came up to me and told me that you were not, I wasn't good enough for you and you were going to get sick of me and leave me and blah, blah, blah. Like I don't know why that's a steady refrain in fiction. Maybe it's true. I don't know.
I don't know about at the wedding. Uncle, here you go, buddy. I don't know about at the wedding, but I know for a fact that my dad's mom hated, and still hates to this day, both of his ex-wives with a passion. And it becomes only more evident the more she loses her mind in her old age.
Alpha Omega says, in a few years, will you change your name to Polygrip? No.
Why?
Well, I plan to, because my teeth are going to fall out from being an old man, I'm assuming. Oh. It's a denture adhesive.
Oh. I don't get it.
Polygrip is the commercial name of a denture adhesive. And if somebody gets old enough in a few years, their teeth will fall out. It's a dad joke. Alpha Omega's cracking a dad joke. It's fine.
I'm sorry. I ruined the dad joke having you explain it, didn't I?
Thank you very much. The next 6 minutes for the, it's called a tip, but this is a noir bar, but it's a bar of a kind, so it's fine. Not that Weebo shows the background that she bothered to create, but whatever. She likes to pretend it's 2015.
You're giving me too much credit. I just grabbed it from the internet.
Anything would be better than this 2015. Yeah, we're still using Google Hangouts on air through YouTube to show to there. See, look, it's a background. Isn't that better, Chad? I think so. Okay. Thank you. Next 6 minutes. I can see you cruising down a darkened alley in a 64 Impala with a Cohiba and a bottle of Jack as you're tailing some dame that walked into your office that night for telling you a sob story about her kidnapped scientist father and stuff.
No.
You don't read noir, do you? Or detective fiction in general?
No.
Yeah, that's what he's going for there. It's actually, yeah. It's sort of indistinct year for detective fiction. I'm not really, but it works.
Yeah. Okay.
If anything, it's Frank Miller, Basin City.
Yeah.
Noir.
You will accept this?
Indistinct year kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Good. The next 6 minutes also donated to me to say, I'm not a huge fan of my dad's favorite beer. I prefer much darker beers. He doesn't like the beery beers, whereas I love the beeriest of beers that could beer. Anyways, stuff to eat while I have them. Can't forget that. Sub to this cool Weebo, y'all. Wow, I read all of that without stumbling over my words because I couldn't fucking read it. Polly, a new age has dawned. Great things will be happening now that I can see things.
Can you see your way to not peeking your mic?
No.
Chat, back me up. Am I right? Yeah. That's see, we have common cause to find a gain equalizer.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't sound wildly different when I'm turning, and you, so you don't, rip ears.
I apologize. I genuinely don't know that I do it. It just happens, I guess. So Pete asked in the chat, and I do have a question about this. Why does the bride's dad usually pay for the wedding? Now, I haven't actually had this discussion with my dad. If I were a betting man, which I'm not, I'd say that he's probably not going to opt to pay for my wedding with El Boyfriendo. Quite honestly. I mean, the man paid for college, and the man paid for my upbringing. I think he's paid out, But
I don't think it's an option. You said he's going to opt out.
Yeah, he can say no, right? And I can accept the no. I can't force him to pay for my wedding.
You're getting pretty uppity there. What makes you think that you have a say in it? Well, I can't. It's between your suitor and your father. What do you
I'm the one getting married, probably.
If
I'm getting married, that's part of the decision about where we get the finances from is coming from me, right? Is it not?
No, you worry about the centerpieces and what your bridemaids are going to be wearing. Okay, you let the men handle the important stuff.
You're being funny right now, aren't you? It's not funny. I'll have you know.
This is my wedding. I'll do the thinking here.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, but like seriously, why is that a typical thing for the bride's father to pay for the wedding? Would you say? Do you know? Do we need to Google it?
I always wondered that. It's like, why does the bride come with a dowry, and why does the bride come with the expectation that the father pays? It must be because of medieval fat chicks. It's like, are you going to take this girl off my hands or what?
But there were no fat chicks unless they were in that time period, unless they were like super mega extra wealthy,
Yeah.
Okay, so here I googled it. Why do the bride's parents traditionally pay for the wedding? Okay, the bride's family paying for the wedding is the modern day descendant of a tradition not entirely flattering, which goes back to at least 1,000 years and maybe longer than that, and which is a part of non-Western cultures. Once upon a time, oh boy, unmarried daughters were considered to be a family liability. Why unmarried daughters were viewed this way is debated by historical experts. And then this guy gives a perspective on that. An unmarried young woman ran the risk of getting pregnant. Morality aside, sexual morality was not always such a big deal in past peasant cultures as we like to think. A daughter giving birth to a child without a husband meant that now both she and her child were extra mouths for the family to feed. So as soon as she hit puberty, the family wanted that daughter married off. Even today, in certain parts of the world, the tradition continues. For instance, putting a sign on your house as soon as your daughter reaches a certain age to let the young men of the village know she's of a marriageable age. You want to get rid of her. The marriage dowry. Parents trying to make their daughters more desirable on the marriage market by basically paying men to marry them is a part of this whole thing. That's why the bride's family pays for the wedding. It's a way of saying, I will pay for you to take my daughter off my hands. Oh, shit.
See? Was I that far off?
Let's get rid of this bitch. She's not wanted. Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. If Dad's girlfriend had any say, definitely, if that's the case, then definitely she'd be shilling you out cash to get rid of me. Oh, God. Okay, sorry. That was mean. People in the Western world maintain this tradition in the 20th century or in the 21st century because it's an old tradition, and unlike the original poster, most of us never bothered to ask why. Huh. Nice. Okay. Cool. Sounds very Islam to me. It makes sense. It does make sense. The logic is solid. I will agree, although it doesn't apply really in today's logic when an extra mouth to feed by a woman who is basically just baggage and dead weight to her family, it really only means you get a little bit of extra stipend from the government for that kid, right? I mean, welfare queens, am I right?
Sorry, I muted my mic there. I was just sneezing. Forgot to unmute. Yeah, welfare queens, am I right?
Is that unacceptable? Can I not say that and not get in trouble?
No, you're in trouble.
Learning with Weebo.
Yeah. Excuse me. I'm sneezing coffee here.
Yeah, no, I don't think Dad's gonna offer to pay for the wedding. quite frankly. And I don't mind if he doesn't. It's fine. Man's shelled out a fuck ton enough to make me a happy camper. I will not have any college debt thanks to that man. And I had a very expensive education, some of you are aware. I was raised by an absolute saint of a man. Swear to God. He's a good boy. And of course, the amount of money he shilled out for college is nothing compared to the amount of money he shilled out in custody disputes with my mother and in child support with my mother to get like full custody and ensure that he maintained full custody of both myself and my brother. So, like I said, man's a saint. If I had ended up with my mother having like even 50% custody during my important formative years, I would not be where I am today. I would not be the woman I am today. So I thank my father every day.
You almost went full Scooby there. That was awesome. My mother.
Huh? My mother.
You almost went full Scoob.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. So I'm watching The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Again. I decided it's time to watch that series through from the beginning. I don't know. YouTube videos have been slow going lately in terms of the slim pickings of the whatever number of channels I subscribe to. Mm-hmm. So I decided, it's time to watch another TV series. And it's like, it's been a few years since I watched Sopranos. So I'm doing that. And I'm enjoying the dialogue over again. It's I mean, this is pre-woke writing, so there's lots of harsh shit in there. Sometimes it seems they're writing episodes just to be, like, including storylines just to be harsh. Like, write rough content and stuff. But whatever. Anyway, there's so many little dialogue moments that are just quippy good humor between like two New Jersey guys. You got Uncle Junior talking to Bobby Bacala, Baccialeri, or Bacala as they call him.
Yeah.
He's like, I haven't seen that guy in 6 months. Where's he been? He goes, I saw him last week. Where was he? Oh, the fountain store. What was he doing there? He's buying a fountain. Yeah. What kind of fountain? I don't know. Some kid pissing.
Oh. I think I've seen that fountain before, actually.
Who hasn't? It's the most confusing fountain style of all time. Who wants to see a kid, pissing ad infinitum?
I think it's hilarious, although I don't know how I feel about the person that pissing being a kid, because you see the little ding-a-ling. I know it's not a real kid, but yeah, it makes me a slight bit uncomfortable, but I can see the humor in it.
I don't get it either. I wouldn't want to walk through my backyard or a park and constantly see some kid pissing. That's not good. Where the hell's that from? Seems very Greek.
Yeah, actually, you know what? That's probably where it comes from. Let's be honest. Because I'm pretty sure there are a number of little tiny statues of little boys with tiny penises on display in several.
Just stop. Just
classical.
Enough.
Did I ever share with you a picture of all of the boob stone carvings and penis stone carvings? I don't think I did. From my trip to Greece.
You made sure to take pictures of stone boobs and penises?
Absolutely, I did. And there's a reason why. One, because I have the mentality of a 12-year-old little boy. And the other thing, the other aspect that went into this was because it was actually very interesting learning about why there were carved boobs and penises. Not just like full-on sculptures of human beings with boobs and penises on display. No. Isolated little tablets with just boobs, just a boob on it, or just a penis on it. And the reason why is because they would take these little carvings and they'd bring them into certain temples or shrines, and they would essentially dedicate them to the gods because that was the part of their body that was ailed with some sort of disease or ailment or whatever. And they would pray to the gods and they would like try to direct all of the blessing into this one aspect of their figure. And a representation, a symbol of that would be this isolated boob sculpture. Super fun facts with Weebo.
So there were lots of diseased penises in ancient Greece?
Enough to fill one wall.
Huh. So did you see like little sculptures of arms and feet and knees and other?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah?
I saw those too, but those were less entertaining than the boobs and penises.
Weebo.
12-year-old boy mentality. Whoa, what can I say? The mind of a 12-year-old, but the back of an 80-year-old man.
You have a bad back?
It's because of my 22-year-old rack.
You have the back of an 80-year-old man because of the rack
of a 22-year-old woman.
No. Okay.
Just a hodgepodge of different traits from different ages and different genders. I'm having fun. Are you, Polly?
No.
I'm sorry.
I'm looking at my cigar size chart right now.
Yeah.
I'll see.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
There you go.
There's a twisty one. What is the twisty one?
Yeah. It's hard for your eyes not to go right there. Am I right?
Well, because it's the only one that twisty, and then there's another twisty one too. There are two twisty ones.
Yes, sort of.
It's because they stand out. That's why, Polly.
Yeah, I mean they're the same kind. The reason being is some of the length and the diameter, and then other ones are the shapes of them.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have like twisty ones that are short little guys, or the super blunts here that are, or this one. In any case, I think I'm mostly partial to the Carlotta or the, where is it? Shit. Lonsdale. There we go. Everyone's always talking about that Grand Corona. Well, let me tell you something. Have you ever smoked one of these at 9.2 inches? By the time you're only really having a pleasurable smoke by the time you get to about here. It's so goddamn long that you're having to draw so much air through it to get it moving. It's surprisingly annoying. And the worst kind of cigars for me are these something like the Robustos, that they're real short and fat like that. I mean, who am I? J. Jonah Jameson?
Hey, don't hate on my man Jay. Don't hate on my man Triple J. Man's a legend.
Oh, he is.
I love that man.
Just because I think it's cool doesn't mean he's a cool character. Doesn't mean I want to walk around biting on the same cigar all day with a Hitler stash. I mean, that's
so you a skinny mid-range type of cigar boy.
Yeah. I happen to like the ones that aren't nearly as wide because I want them to burn a little bit faster. I'd rather have a few cigars over the day rather than one burning for 4 hours and just getting sick, progressively more sick of it. Well, thank you very much, Alpha Omega, for the very generous $20. Happy belated birthday, Polly. I wanted to catch the stream, but the 6 a.m. start time conflicted with my heading off to work. That's not a problem. I appreciate the thought after the fact. Even Weebo showed up for my birthday. It was great fun.
Yeah. It was great fun. I enjoyed myself.
Yeah, it was a good time.
See, if I were to smoke, I can 100% for certain say that I would only smoke cigars. Like, if I were a person that were to pick up the habit of, like, putting things in my mouth that were on fire, it would just be cigars.
It's a slow smolder more than a full-on fire. But...
Details. Polly, come on, let's not get semantical. All right, you do that enough in your off time. No, but like, I could be the kind of person that would enjoy cigars. I'm just, I just don't want to. Maybe someday, but not right now. I have enjoyed a few in my time. I know Balik, the old roommate from college, he was a cigarillo fan, but he also smoked cigars, so I have on occasion indulged. And then at my grandfather's funeral, I did take that opportunity to purchase a nice long skinny boy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the brand or the name or anything about it, other than it took me maybe an hour and a half to blow through. Um, but yeah, that was like the only time I've actually smoked a full cigar by myself. And not bad.
They're talking about the twisty cigar there. Yeah, it's an eye catcher, no
Yeah.
question. There are rarefied ones that, for the hilarity of it, are twisted together at both ends, so you can smoke all of them together. But that's just a traditional style of packing three of them together. The idea is that you cut the ring off of it and you smoke them separately. And yeah, so it's by the time you take them apart, it's like a cigar with a big bend in it and flattened where they were pressing against each other. And yeah, you're actually supposed to smoke it like that. I don't know. It looks weird. Like, you can look up pictures on DuckDuckGo image search or Google image search, and yeah, you'll see people smoking those twisted ass cigars like that. It's just traditionally they were sold packs of three in that way.
Ooh, I just thought of something. Okay, I take it back. I wouldn't just smoke cigars if I were a smoking person. I would also smoke a pipe because I think that looks fun. That looks,
It is.
yeah.
It's very gentlemanly.
Oh yes.
You've heard my desires for a church warden pipe. You know what I'm talking about.
I think so. I would absolutely have one of those like Peaky Blinder hats with the smoking jacket and join a gentleman's club with my scotch on the rocks in one hand and then my cigar on the other hand.
Yeah.
And now that I have glasses, I have the complete look. Oh,
Women can't let men have anything. See what I mean? Guys, try and have a gentleman's club where we just sit back and get away from them. The first thing you got is some blonde girl wanting to show up dressed like a dude.
I boast the biggest dick of them all, so sit down, gentlemen. Enjoy my company.
I'm not going to lie. It does annoy me a little bit. It's like, ladies, you want to have your sorority clubs? Go ahead. I can absolutely understand why you'd want to have a women's club. I get it. I do. And it's like, we're not allowed in there. Oh, it's time to go get the government to force you to.
I enjoy the environment of a gentleman's dominated area more than I would a woman's dominated area. And that's just because I have a tendency to have more to talk about with men than I do with women. Not that I don't have anything to talk about with women. We certainly talk about quite a lot. But I feel like, okay, and this is going to come off as super sexist, and I don't care. I can have more meaningful intellectual conversations with men more often. Like, I have not had one conversation with another woman about investments in the stock market or trust fund retirement savings plans or how to allocate your finances or if you should consolidate them from like 6 bank accounts into one bank account or like practical shit. I have had that with several men. Contrarily, I've not had one conversation with another gentleman about emotionally coping with past traumas that have to do with familial shenanigans and conflict resolution and how to talk about that stuff. But I have had it with several women in that capacity. So, like, women and men are good at talking about different things, but I just feel more comfortable talking about non-emotional related stuff in most cases. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. That's just my preference. And I'm sorry if that means that I have to invade your gentleman's club, Polly.
All right, so that apology still doesn't work out. I've had meaningful discussions with men. Therefore, I should be able to come into your men's club. Like, okay, that doesn't follow, but all right.
No, not should. I would just. It would be nice if I was allowed to. It would be. It would be nice. Not that I've actually ever tried to invade a men's only space. It's just. It's a shame that I wasn't born with a penis, I guess.
Confirmation of penis envy. I didn't expect
not because I actually
Freudian psychoanalysis to come up. But okay.
Not because I want an actual penis. I just want to be invited into penis only spaces. Okay? All right.
It's all right, man. It's current year. There's no such thing anymore. Women have successfully invaded everything, and thus, look at them.
No, but I want men to have their penis only spaces. But simultaneously, that comes with the desire to invade those spaces. Jesus.
Of course it does. Like did you hear about the things like the lawsuits at, where was it? Dartmouth and Yale, I believe.
Yeah.
Where a bunch of women got together and they were like, let's sue for, like, literally in civil court for sexual discrimination for access to the various fraternities that are on campus. And I was like, what don't you understand about a fraternity? There's sororities all over campus. Take your pick. And the argument was, no, the fraternities are access to power, and you're not limiting us to just access to like a physical space, but you're limiting us to access to. And it's like, do you realize that self-segregation would immediately occur?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, no. And it's like, keeping in mind that these are the same universities that have POC only spaces and the Black Student Center that are segregated out like that.
Oh, yeah.
How many white people do they have in the Black
African American Association for,
and it is, that's woke as hell. We need more of those. Historically, people of color have always been denied an entrance. It's like, what principle are we going off of? That segregating people by groups and through rules is wrong? If it's wrong, it's wrong. Oh, well, it's only wrong when we don't like it because access to power is. And you know what? I'm going to go off on a little micro rant here.
Okay.
One of the things that bugs me the most is that are we going to pursue this Nietzschean concept of will to power? Because every concept, whether it be critical race theory, people love talking about that right now, and having dealt with critical theory in a large way in political science and through sociology for a long time now in grad school, that's all critical theory boils down to. There is no such thing as principle or independent action or rational judgment. Everything is various interacting power plays. That's all there is in the world in terms of human interaction is power. And it's who has power, who's oppressed, who's not. It's a very cynical view of the world. And nobody can make a judgment that is rational outside of a need to maintain or eliminate power. Well, one of the main criticisms of Nietzsche, and is talking about Friedrich Nietzsche, or Nietzsche, if you will.
I thought it was Nietzsche.
Whatever you want it to be. Niche.
Niche. All right.
Let's just go with niche. Which reminds me, by the way, an episode of The Sopranos. Like I said, I've been watching The Sopranos over again. Is little Anthony Jr., Tony Soprano's son, gets into existentialism and all this depressing ass philosophy, and he keeps going around. He keeps going around quoting Nietzsche, and that's what he's calling him because he doesn't know any better. It's pretty funny. But if it is all for, if it is all about will to power and the power forward, and this is one of the arguments that was made against our man Nietzsche, there is the man had a very simplistic view of the world. He viewed everything as just power fights between people, and don't be part of the herd, and the herd mentality, as he calls it, and so forth. If that's all it is, power, will to power, you're asking me to give up what you're perceiving as my white privilege power. Why would I? Because you have already let the cat out of the bag. You're attempting to grab power for yourself. There's nothing altruistic about it and trying to get out of your oppression, because there's no such thing as a middle ground or equal interaction or interaction between equals. There is nothing more than oppressed and oppressor. You don't want to eliminate oppression. You want to be the oppressor. That's at the core of critical theory. And it's no would be the answer. because every human being is indelibly and inseparably connected to their desire to be the oppressor, as says the theory. Okay. No is the answer. I do not want to give up my power then. Oh, but you should because what? Principle? Because of racism? What does anybody care? You already told me it's all about power. No. Men's only groups and every other fucking thing that you're calling immoral. There is no morality. Remember, there's only power. Morality is just a cis-het, white, Western patriarchal means of maintaining oppression. Well, yeah, so would Black Lives Matter by that conception. It's nothing but a means of grabbing power. Am I right? See what a cynical worldview it is? Wouldn't it be better to go with something where there is such a thing as principle and people can appeal to generalized rules of equality? I would think so. I'd like to think so. Stop making me a cynic.
Especially since the seizure of power, as you said, is not an altruistic pursuit. Power corrupts. And absolute power. You know the rest.
See? There's Pete. He wants to smoke a cigar with Ruth Gator Binsberg. It's fine. Apparently, so does have a Twitter, Pete. I hear you.
Apparently. Yeah, I'm like in a weird position where I think that men should have men-only spaces, and simultaneously I wish that I could be the exception that's invited into these male-only spaces. But also, I think that making exceptions for rules is setting a precedent that is dangerous. So yeah, I'm in a weird trifecta of realizations. I don't like it.
I don't see the problem with it's like, well, why is it forbidden land? Let's have an open house every week then.
Like once a week, every week we have whatever
a mixer
can come. Yeah, a mixer. There we go.
Yeah, I don't see any problem with a mixer at men's and women's clubs. It makes good sense. That's why they're called mixers, for God's sake. You know what I mean? Right. Like it's kind of an outmoded idea, but let's bring it back.
All right then. Let's do it. Yeah, see, I didn't know that there was that terminology for that. So now
you never heard that phrase before? I watch old movies, so it's like
yeah.
They'll talk about like the colleges and films from like the 40s and 50s where they'll say, "Oh, it's a co-ed mixer," because back then it was men's and women's colleges were all over the place.
I don't get this reference, but Polydub says Weebo is kind of like a self-scripted real life Elaine from Seinfeld. IDK, what I mean by that. I don't know what you mean by that either, because I've never seen one episode of Seinfeld.
In their little group of friends, Elaine is a woman, and she hangs out with them in their little camaraderie group of Jerry, Kramer, and George. She's the only woman in their group, and if anything, she's more like them than she is like other women, because she is the same kind of conniving, cynical, smart ass that they are in a very big way. So she fits right in with this group of guys in terms of their behavior. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I could see that. It's not a unfair description, and it's like not seen Seinfeld. What is the world coming to? Thank you.
I'm sorry. Okay, I grew up with whatever it is my dad had on TV, and that was a lot of cop dramas, a lot of
procedurals.
Yes. A lot of John Wayne that I don't remember for whatever reason. I don't think I blocked it out. I just think that maybe I wasn't super as interested as he was. Or maybe I was just too young. A lot of James Bond, a lot of action movies. Lots and lots of action movies. My God. But we didn't start getting into the TV shows until later years when I was in maybe middle school. And then it was, like I said, cop procedurals and whatnot. So that was your CSI New Yorks, Miamis, et cetera, et cetera. And that's actually where I started to want to be a police officer.
Really?
Yeah, because I really wanted to investigate crimes and look at evidence and facts and build a case. And I don't know, the idea of investigating stuff and being allowed to be super nosy, like to be given a license to be super nosy about shit, it really appealed to me.
Alpha Omega brings up Cop Rock. Epic show. Epic.
I have heard of this.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a 187 at the 7-Eleven on the corner of 4th and 9.
I'm
Two
sorry that I
Caucasians of the male persuasion got they are so good. Oh, I've got a copy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I showed a clip to Far. It's like, here, watch this for a second. She's like, what am I watching? Because there's a cop talking to the desk sergeant, and he's explaining to his officers, okay, you guys are going to investigate this. You guys are going to go out there, all right? And hey, let's be careful out there. And then all of a sudden, some music starts, and he bursts into a musical number, and it's like this hot swing jazz number. It's so good. She just sat there and watched it in complete bafflement, and she's like, I have to see this show. So, very short with, we ended up watching the entire series as it was produced. It got canceled in the midway through the first season, so there's only those 11 episodes that exist, but it's fucking enjoyable. You like musicals?
I do, and I like cop dramas. So
yeah,
it works.
It ended up being a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. It was you take it for what it is, not for what I mean.
What you want it to be.
Yeah, it's a cop procedural musical. It's gonna be fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And on that basis, yeah, it's hilarious.
I can dig it. Yeah. Apparently I make unearthly whales feel old. Maybe I'm just old now, thanks Weebo. Now I know I'm old. Apparently.
No, I don't buy that because for the Seinfeld thing, nah. I watch Deadwing Dark because he's hilarious. And he talks a lot about Friends. And he goes off on this, yeah, I realize it's normie as hell, but I don't care. It's rerun everywhere. And that's my thing. And it kind of came up to this there's like two type of people in the world when it comes to things like that. There's Seinfeld people and there's Friends people. And Seinfeld people, yeah, that's where it's at.
I grew up on Friends.
It's smart ass comedy. It's off the wall, where Friends is
mindless and just good.
Pretty normie.
Yeah. Okay. I will check out Seinfeld. Does anyone know where I can watch all of the series?
That's a good question. I've got a copy of it on my external hard drive. I don't know who's streaming it.
All right, back to the internet. Weebo furiously types, where can I watch Seinfeld? This is really awkward to type like this because I can't actually sit forward and watch it because Cola's on my lap. And he looks pretty comfortable. Oh, Hulu has it. All right, I'll have to demand Hulu access from my brother. He's got Hulu. Or El Boyfriendo, I think, also has Hulu. I'll ask around. We'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, this time next week I will be halfway through one season and you'll be mad at me because I haven't done anything on the channel because I've been too busy watching Seinfeld. So make your minds up. What do you want? Content or Weebo to be exposed to Seinfeld?
It's definitely one of those shows. It has no theme song, like no intro sequence that you have to like speed through or click through depending on what it allows you the option of. It's just bow, 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 and then the title card is Seinfeld. That's it. It's just that stupid guitar riff and then it's off. So my point being is that once the commercials are edited out and you don't have an intro sequence to watch, it's just 20 minutes like that. You know what I mean? To pop through episodes. So you can watch 5 in an hour. That's it's a Seinfeld deep dive in Weebo's future. If you like it, we won't see you for a while.
I won't surface for the next month, and I'll be like, I have a whole new sense of humor and a whole new appreciation for something on the internet.
Speaking of which,
yeah,
it's a good thing that I asked Weebo the other night, chat. When did we have this scheduled and this scheduled and this scheduled? And then I asked some random question I had on my mind. Like, what was it?
It was about skinny jeans. You asked me.
Oh, yeah. When are skinny jeans going to die?
Yes. You kind of lost the plot, apparently. Yeah. So, cocktail hour, obviously, that's been answered. We haven't talked about when we want to watch Twisted, except for a few weeks ago when we said we were going to watch it, and then we didn't get a chance to because we ended up calling way too late, and then we need to reschedule for the recording of either your video or my video.
Your video.
My video.
you're going to be objectifying the men of the comic. I was going to say the MCU, but of the comic book movies generally.
Come here, Coley. Yes. Yes. We got to do that. We
Did
must
you?
do that.
Did you trim that kitty? He seems less floofy.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, okay.
Well, we trimmed him
When?
at the beginning of the summer.
Oh, okay.
I was showing you, so I showed Polly a whole bunch of cat back pics from over the course of Cole's life. And a few of them were super fluffy Cole pics, but he's a little bit less fluffy right now, and that's because we shave him during the summer so that he doesn't overheat when he goes outside. Because he's a very fluffy kitty. Hey, buddy. Who's my love? You are. Yes, you are. I know so many fun facts about cats now.
Like?
Took like 40 years in the middle of the night one night to learn a whole bunch of things about cats. Like, for instance, did you know that cats are not native to the Americas? They're actually an invasive species.
I'd buy that.
Yeah, they were brought over when we came to the new world. Hi, buddy. How are you? He's a good boy.
Okay, he looked like he was passed out there for a second with his head bent over.
Wait, you don't want to love me? Where are you going? Here, you can go away now. Do whatever you want. He's like, I just want a fucking nap. Why'd you pick me up? And I'm like, because you were about to fall, okay? I saved his life. Not that that would have killed him, but I like to think it saved his life. I'm the best owner he has. Oh my gosh, you should see Daphne. She's just like knocked out on the floor, dead to the world, snoring.
Snoring.
She does snore. She's been sleeping in my room since we've been home alone together, spending so much time together. And she snorted one night at 3 a.m. And I immediately sat up in bed like, oh, what the fuck? Because I'm not used to noises in the middle of the night like that. I'm used to maybe Cole knocking on the door, trying to get in or out and meowing. But I'm not used to a gigantic snort from a 98-pound dog. So she snorts. I bolt up, sit up, and I'm like, okay, let's go outside, because that was my first thought, is that she had to pee. She was still asleep, but then she woke up as I go, let's go outside, Daphne. And we go downstairs together in our slumbering stupor, because we're both still half asleep. I let her out, I let her back in, and we go back to bed. But holy shit, terrified the fuck out of me.
Weebo, I forget. Are you into anime?
No. I mean, I've watched a few, but I'm not, a weebo or a weeb. I am weebo, but I'm not a weeb. I just casually observe. Unless it's a TV show that I actually watch, in which case then, like, I'm an avid fan. Except for, I haven't. Okay, so I've watched Castlevania, but I haven't actually played the game, so I don't care enough apparently about that anime to fully immerse myself like an absolute weeb would. I just like it. All right, it's a good TV show. Same thing with Seven Deadly Sins. I like it enough to actually go out and like spoil the plot for myself, but I haven't actually read the manga that the TV show is based off of. That's my life. That's who I am. Oh, boyfriend who keeps trying to get me into anime. He told me I should watch Naruto. I tried.
Isn't Naruto like Bleach? 7 million episodes, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's got quite a bit of stuff. And each episode has maybe 5 minutes worth of recap and then end credits that I don't care about, because I literally just got done watching the previous episode and I don't want to watch the end credits, because who the fuck watches end credits? And so at the end of the actual episode itself is about 18 minutes. And not a lot happens in the 18 minutes that I'm watching for each episode. maybe the plot will advance a half a step in a direction, or they'll narrate some super important shit, but most of the episode is just a bunch of screaming and action scenes that are lazily executed and a lot of over the top yelling by the characters and getting beat up. I don't think it's well done personally. And I think the reason why I don't enjoy it as much as El Boyfriendo does is one, because I look at things from a super like, is this necessary perspective instead of a is this cool perspective? But at the same time, also, I'm watching this as I'm a 22-year-old, and he watched this when he was like 12. So there's about a 10-year age gap there where he's looking at everything that's happening with nostalgia goggles, glasses, whatever, and I'm not. So it's different for us. I don't think he quite grasps that yet because I've tried to explain. I just don't like it. I can't get into it. I tried. I did. I tried so hard, but it wasn't my thing, you know? I'm sorry. I need better writing. This is why I lost interest in season 7 of the 100, because the writing was absolute shit, even though I adored the characters, even though I've been watching it since season 1, because the writing turned into absolute shit. Not because a certain character died that I have like the absolute biggest feels for, but like the way that was executed was just piss poor and it sucked balls. It could have been done better. I need good writing. I've been spoiled. I've been exposed to decent writing before. And so when it's not done right, it's glaringly obvious, I can't stand it. And it's not that Naruto is anime that I can't stand it. It's that Naruto is Naruto that I can't stand it. There are aspects of how Naruto was executed that I just don't like. Sorry, tangent over. Oh, you were saying about the anime.
No, I was asking generally. God damn, I didn't think that was going to happen.
Oh, you didn't think Weebo was going to go off on a tangent? It happens, you know.
Since I'm the only one here, look, I'm the only one who shows up here with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And mute your phone, for God's sake, woman.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, everyone did.
Oh, I'm sorry. The fuck am I getting Pinterest notifications for? I don't go on Pinterest. If you break the treat in half, they think it's 2 treats. Sorry, Dad. I didn't mean it. Rough.
Okay, hold on. What else do we have here? Oh, yes.
We're going to Mexico to vote in the elections and demand free healthcare while waving the American flag. If they ask for our papers, we'll riot, attack police, and sue them. You up for a road trip? Somehow I don't think that's going to work out.
Why not? Why wouldn't it? That's legitimate. Seems right. They're undocumented citizens of Mexico. Am I right?
I think Mexico handles it differently.
Because they're racists?
No. Because they're Mexico.
You mean their politicians aren't pushovers, except for the drug cartels?
Yeah. Briefly, well, not briefly, but thank you to Alpha and Omega who donated to say, please accept this token of my appreciation. I accept. And also, Polly says send nudes. So, chat.
Did you know you could do that with a bill? That's pretty cool.
Of course. Yes, I did know that. And of course. Why, though? Why would you do that? Just curious.
Because that's hilarious.
Okay, that's fair.
So we got that one. Oh, here, look at this. Look at this, Weebo.
What is this? What am I looking at, Polly? Is this
Bowl of
honeycomb?
tomatoes and tripe.
What the fuck is a tripe?
Stomach lining.
Of what?
Cow, usually.
Is it good?
I'm going to ask you to look at that. Like, I don't care. That might taste like pumpkin pie. I'm not eating it. Like, Jesus Christ.
Because
I mean,
it's got the the appearance of a honeycomb.
Yeah, but you know that it's like, it's the look of it. Ugh.
You don't. Is it okay? So because it has a consistency of like what is essentially a honeycomb, you just like no.
Yeah, it's too weird and organic and looks like a xenomorph made it and just no.
I think I'd try it.
The reason it caught my attention because they got like this nice rustic plate and it's on top of this burlap looking placemat and wood tabletop, nice fork, dried pepper, good photography. You can't make it look good. Stop.
I'd try it. It doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look like
I'm actually a fan of chitlins or chitterlings, what have you, but it doesn't look like that. It's a certain portion of the intestine. Just it's not the whole, and it doesn't look like that. Like by the time it's all cut up and properly cleaned, it just doesn't look like that at all. If you go hog maws or like hog stomachs, it doesn't look like that either. That's cow, a certain part of cow intestine or cow stomach lining, referred to as tripe, and yeah, it's got a honeycomb. It's it's just horrible to look at.
If you like flipped it over, would it be different?
Yeah, it's like flat and smooth on the other side.
Okay, so if you flipped it over, would that change your perspective on this?
Yeah, like if you, like I said, it's completely a look thing. I'm not denying that it's just about the looks. It is.
Okay.
I don't think
that. Wondering. Even if you knew that it looked like that on the other side, though.
Yeah, knowing that it looked like that. Like if you look at this chunk, oops.
If it was a honeycomb, would you eat it?
I don't know. Bees were thrown up in there. So if you take a look at this, like you see the cross section of it. Uh-huh. It's this disgusting part. That's exactly what I'm referring to. All the honeycomb, like this layer of stuff here. This looks fine. This just looks like tissue, and I don't know. There's something weird about digesting the thing that does the digesting. It's like, no, man. And here, let's make up for that. Look at that.
Oh yeah.
Am I right?
That's one sexy steak.
Yeah, that's particularly what they call a London broil. So it's deeply marinated, cut against the grain. So it makes for great sandwich fixins because it pulls apart really quickly because you've cut against the grain. Look at the outside of that. Look at the sear on it. Holy shit. Like that's some melt in your mouth shit right there. Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
I'm a big steak fan.
Are you?
Yeah. You know what my last meal would be? Like, on the off chance that I ended up on death row and I was offered a last meal. And I got it. Expenses aside and limitations. My last meal would be medium rare filet mignon with garlic mashed potatoes, sauteed onions and mushrooms, baked apple pie, a glass of white wine, and there was one other thing.
White wine with beef, really?
Yeah, because I like red, but it's my last meal. I want my last wine to be a white because I do like white.
Fair enough. It's your last meal.
Yeah. Unless, am I allowed to, for dessert, switch to the white wine from the red wine that I'm having? In which case, I will have a red wine. Yes.
I'd imagine you can have whatever you want.
I will have a red wine with meat and then switch to white when it is that I have the dessert. This I will do.
I wonder why people for their last meal don't order, 5 bottles of liquor. And so it's like, yeah, I'm gonna be passed out. You're gonna have to drag me to the electric chair.
Well, okay, actually, the reason why I said like price be damned or whatever, I don't remember how I articulated that, but there is a price limit on what you can request for your last meal. I think someone told me that, and I don't know if I don't think I ever verified it, but last meal price, yeah, death row last meal price limit. The various counties where the death penalty is legal, it's customary to give sentenced prisoners a special last meal as their request. Restrictions do apply. For example, in Florida, the last meal can only cost up to $40 and must be able to be prepared locally.
Mm.
I don't know if that extends to everywhere, though. But yeah, that would be my last meal. A medium rare steak. Oof. A good time was had by all.
Yeah, steak's all right. I know some people are just, man, it's just ride or die for steaks. That is like the epitome of fantastic food to them. Yeah, steaks are okay.
Mm.
They're good. I've had some pretty good steaks in my time, but I just don't uber crave it like I hear some people talk as their very, very favorite food.
Well, it's probably because I don't get it all that often. And if it's prepared correctly, like my dad makes for
Just heard the dog.
yeah,
Yeah.
my dad for Christmas, he makes a very special recipe. I think it's like a whole slab of filet or whatever that he garlic and butter rubs, and he lets sit for 2 days, and then he broils it. It's the most mouth-watering shit ever. Honestly, prepare it exactly that way. That would be my preferred last meal. But it takes so goddamn long to actually prepare it, and those bad boys cost upwards of $80 a piece, and they're about like that long.
Wow.
The amount of meat that you're buying, and he gets 2 per 10 people.
2 per 10 people. All right.
Yep. It's an expensive dinner. It's a good ass dinner though. Yeah, and they make for good sandwiches too. You're not wrong, especially when you're cutting against the grain. Ultimate last meal: bread and wine. Jesus approved, says Race Jacobson. Fair. Oh yeah, now we're gonna get all the comments about Weebo being the hot librarian person.
Are you going to get some librarian glasses? I was just reading that.
No, these are the only glasses that I'm gonna get. They cost me a pretty penny, so this is it. Sorry, guys.
Well, virtual frameless glasses like that, I can understand them being expensive, but if you get your prescription in, something more anime, sexy librarian looking.
These work for my face. They're good everyday glasses, and I am like, I don't have the money to just splurge on a second pair of glasses.
But you're employed.
Yeah, but I have other expenses that are coming up. Like, a boyfriend and I just got on the same phone plan. We just opened up a joint checking account. We are going to get on the same internet plan here in a few weeks. We're going to be on the same electricity bill. We're going to share rent, groceries, all of that fun stuff. I'll be honest, car insurance. Like, I'm going to have a lot more expenses than I previously ordained having, which is fine because now I have a job. But I haven't quite figured out exactly what that's going to look like financially for me. And I still have to save because the end goal is, of course, to have our own place that isn't a rental.
Well,
yeah. I mean, if I got a specific pair of glasses that were just for YouTube videos, I could write them off in my taxes and save money that way, justify them that way. But I'd love to have that conversation with my accountant. Hey, Weebo, so I see this itemized list of tax deductions for business expenses that you put your second pair of glasses on here. What's that about? And I go, oh, the audience likes the sexy librarian look. Please don't tell my
Well,
dad.
yeah, don't say it that way. For God's sake, say they're costumery glasses, and since you have a prescription, you're going to get them with the prescription so you can see what you're doing.
Please, William, don't tell my dad. I know you guys are tight and whatnot, but like, yeah, no, because my accountant and my dad are friends somewhat.
It's for my cam girl business.
Yeah. Yeah, no. The accountant guy, I did have a lovely conversation with him this week. So yeah, it was an important conversation. We're gonna have more conversations in the future. I will know better looking forward what is gonna happen with that stuff. And I have a few other expenditures that I want to make before I do anything else. And they pertain to a very certain character on the channel. Well, not my channel, a different channel that I don't want to say anything about because I'm not supposed to spoil it. But there are future expenditures that I have to be saving for as well that'll be very much worth the wait and the lack of sexy librarian love. Sorry, not sorry. Deal with it.
Okay.
Also, I have to get contacts for that character as well. Because I cannot wear glasses with that character. So that's another thing. And I'm not confirming or denying anything that you say in chat, Chad. Polly, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Would you mind asking in the chat while I got another beer? I have to get another bonus beer.
You already killed off that beer?
Come here, Cole. I'm going to put you down now. Sorry.
Yeah, go get your beer.
All right, I'll be back.
I wish I had cold beer in a fridge to steal. That'd be sweet. See, I have to buy my own beer, chat. Women, am I right? I'm partial to sexy librarian, Pete says, and sexy lab technician. Yeah, there's a lot of crossover there. I don't know what it is, man. I like a sexy animu girl as much as the next person, but it seems like people are outside of the ability to reference sexy Western comic book women, which, by the way, is half the reason that the comic book curation thumbnails look the way that they do. Is everybody posting their waifus and sexy animu girls everywhere, and I'm like, sexy Western comic book women, am I right? And thus the thumbnails. Now that was before I realized YouTube had a AI butt detector striking down, I don't know, a good 15%, if not more, of the thumbnails for comic book curation. If you scroll through the back catalog, a whole bunch of them are missing. Yeah, thanks. I get an email about it every time. Your thumbnail goes against the community guideline standards for overt sexuality or nudity in thumbnails. And I'm like, oh, fuck off. Is Black Widow going to be woke? You know what's funny? I actually don't think it's going to be all that woke at all, except for strong women. Am I right? That kind of thing. I have read an interview with Scarlett Johansson and the director saying that it is woke, but they're trying to like portray it in that way. If you know what I mean. I think they're just trying to spin a movie as being very progressive, not woke, but progressive. Oh, it fits into current year. Oh, it's got a lot to do with it's influenced by the election. And like, is it, or are you just fucking saying that in an attempt to promote a movie that was pushed back because of COVID? Can you imagine living with that woman? Holy shit. I mean, I love the Imperial March as much as the next guy.
You gotta move, please, sir. Beep, beep. This is my chair.
Assassin the Grey, what type of AR should Weebo invest in? A Daniel Defense? If money's an object, then an M&P 15 from Smith & Wesson.
What's up?
What
should I get?
What kind of AR-15 should you get? Assassin the Grey ass.
Oh.
Or if you want to go like hardcore, but meat and potatoes, go with a Bravo company. It's tough to beat Bravo company. There's just not a lot of bells and whistles with their entry level. Yeah, next 6 minutes, and oh shit, somebody else asked about that earlier about Tatiana as being cast as She-Hulk.
Interesting. Thoughts?
What?
Thoughts?
Well, my first thought was, she's gay?
Yes.
Like the actress?
And?
Is she?
What would that have to do with anything, Polly?
What do you mean? It's current year. How are they not going to cast a like? Okay, first of all, she's a white woman. What the fuck is wrong? Like, how toned?
Why is her skin not green?
Well, this is terrible. It's terrible. Why the hell would they have not cast a woman of color in current year? When Black Lives Matter, am I right? Things reference.
We need to blackwash She-Hulk. Is she gay?
I don't think she is. That's what was surprising.
Is She-Hulk supposed to be gay? I don't know anything about She-Hulk, so you're gonna have to
Jennifer Walters is not supposed to be gay. No.
Okay.
Well, the way that I actually think that they're going to play it out, woke, if you will, is that Jennifer Walters is a lawyer, and then she's dying. She needs a blood transfusion, rare blood type. The only one she can get it from is from her cousin, Bruce Banner. Him with his gamma irradiated blood. She becomes She-Hulk. That's like what happened. Yeah. Why is she She-Hulk? Well, that's why.
Not how that works, but okay, go on.
What do you mean?
That's not how that would work.
Yeah, he didn't think so either. Surprised.
You silly gooses. Don't you know anything about genetics and cellular hemoglobin replication?
Well, why would his blood become... No, Weebo. It's fine.
It's fine.
We're talking about a guy that was near a gamma bomb when it went off and it turned him into the Hulk, and you're arguing about real...
Radiation poisoning just trumps all other science.
I miss the radiation era of Marvel Comics when that was their way of explaining everything. Now everything's genetics.
Radiation did it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it was great. My favorite, hands down, favorite radiation turned creating superpower story is Sandman. His origin story is so bad. Like, it's so lazy. He fell on the sleep near a nuclear reactor.
Yeah.
That's it. Was it. Like, he was touching the sand. You see, he fell asleep on the beach near a nuclear reactor. And he was touching the sand and radiation because reactor.
That's not how that works.
Yeah, he woke up and he was fucking Sandman. I'm not even kidding. It's just, that's it. That's the whole thing. He fell asleep on the beach. Boom. Sandman.
Okay, I'm missing several steps in between. Like, for instance, how do we take organic, non-life material, right, and give it to a person's genetics in such a way that it shapes them?
In a way,
it switches with their carbon-based life form tree completely. Like, how? Please explain.
I think it's great because, like, it doesn't matter is the whole point. And then it was genetics, but it's not really just genetics. It's for a long time it was like it was mutant stuff, right? Like you had it was mutated DNA. It was natural, like the X-Men and so forth, right?
Yeah.
And then it turned into genetic manipulation is what caused it. And they didn't want to do the radioactive spider for the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films. So it's like, oh, it's a genetically modified spider. Yeah. GMOs, am I right? So he gets bitten by a GMO spider and thus becomes Spider-Man. It's like, oh man. And if you got a problem with the guy falling asleep on a beach, Sandman, Fantastic Four must really blow your mind. It's like cosmic rays. Oh, you couldn't even go with radiation? You went with cosmic rays?
Cosmic rays, the power of the UV.
Yeah, that's right. So let's get it straight. You get hit with cosmic rays that penetrate the skin of your ship. Okay. And what does it do? Oh, well, it makes one of us stretchy, one of us invisible, one of us turn into a rock man, and one of us turn into flame guy.
Listen. That's not the only reason that they're like that. I saw the Fantastic Four movie. All right, the light rays penetrated the the light penetrated the light rays penetrated each of them in very unique manners through very unique properties. All right. Okay. So, like, for instance, Susan Storm, she was penetrated by the light rays through a glass window.
Hey,
Therefore,
listen.
explaining her power.
You want to talk about penetrating Jessica Alba? Okay, I'm full attention given.
I knew they would get you.
Well, Jessica Alba, am I right? Yeah, I'm right.
Man crush Saturday for Polly.
This is not new. Okay, I didn't inform somebody.
I know. I'm aware. Anyway, as soon as it started talking about penetration, I'm like, oh, I know where this is going. Especially since it's Fantastic Four, Jessica Alba's in here. Oh, okay. But you want to talk about...
I like the two Fantastic Four movies. I don't care what anybody says. They're like, oh, they were stupid. It's like they were lighthearted fun. Calm down.
They were campy and fun. I can get behind campy and fun. All right? What I can't get behind is shitty writing and shitty acting.
Yeah.
And wokenisms. Okay, but you want to talk about shitty origin stories from a fun and campy movie. You ever see Shark Boy and Lava Girl?
I never have. I've heard about it forever, seen clips, etc., but I've never actually seen the movie.
Okay, so I know what our second movie is going to be after Twisted, but so Shark Boy is Shark Boy. You know, he's got like gills and shit and can swim underwater for really, really fast distances, and he eats raw fish and doesn't get sick and whatever. He's got the powers of a shark, basically. He's Spider-Man, but with sharks. But he didn't get bit by a shark and then had the powers transferred to him. No. What happened was his dad was a shark scientist, and his dad died in a storm or something. Or maybe he got lost at sea in a storm. And Shark Boy was lost at sea alone by himself. And he was adopted by a whole bunch of great white sharks. And through living with the sharks, he developed shark-like properties. So, for instance, gills, webbed feet, and whatnot, and shark personalities and such. Just by living in close proximity and being raised by sharks is how he gained his sharkiness.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What's a shark personality?
Yeah, like testy and aggressive, I guess.
Pesty?
No, testy and aggressive.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sharks. The pests of the ocean.
Taylor Lautner's most iconic film role, in all honesty. Better than Jacob Black on the Twilight series.
Wait a minute.
Most iconic role.
His last name wasn't Black, was it?
It was Jacob Black.
No, really?
I swear to God.
It wasn't like Jacob, I don't know.
No, it was Jacob
Sitting
Black.
Wolf or whatever?
No, it was Jacob Black. You wouldn't think that his name would resemble something akin to Native American last names. You know, like Jacob Nightleaf or Jacob Longfur or what the fuck ever.
Right.
No, it's
or whatever, or even Jacob Jones. Why Jacob Black? Like what? That's crazy. I didn't know that. And I've seen them movies more than once, not by my own volition.
I don't know. Maybe it's because he's a wolf.
Oh, that's something I with the stuff. Yeah, forgot that we were supposed to watch the 5 movies
at some point. It's so far back there on the to-do list for me, though. Race Jacobson can't fight my instincts. Shark frenzy. Oh, swear to God, it's not your instincts, kid. You were not born as a shark. There's nothing genetically shark about you. You were just raised by a bunch of fucking sharks. Therefore, you have no shark instincts. Holy shit. We're watching this movie, Polly. We need to watch this movie, and I need to record you watching this movie because I know it's going to be good.
You put it on the list. You know how far down it is?
It's after Twisted. Because I have 2 movies that
You
exist.
do, and then out we got the Heat deep dive, which
Yes.
is technically 3 movies.
Okay.
Remember? It's Heat, and then Heat with the director's commentary, and then LA Takedown, the TV movie version of Heat.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that counts as 3 movies, which means I get 3 movies after that.
No.
Yes.
It's one movie.
Yeah. Sorry, that's how that works.
It's one script, ergo one movie. Okay, Race Jacobson says black as opposed to the pale face. Wouldn't he be Jacob Red then?
Well,
okay, let's talk about bisexuals for a second.
Okay, sure. Let's transition. Bisexuals, what about them?
So you have bisexuals, right? And they catch heat in the LGBTQ LMNOP community.
It's because they want the best of both worlds, apparently.
Well, there's this thing. It's like, oh, you could, there's this thing that I think, there's this argument that is very unfair. It sounds reasonable to me, like it is unfair. That's leveled upon bisexual women. That they're saying that to be trendy. Ultimately they're going to pick one way or another. So therefore, etc. Right. Mm-hmm. And then you see the bisexual erasure. It's called, and engaging in erasure and so forth. I'm like, all right. But if you want to level that against someone picking something, like for a trend, doing it just as a fashion accessory, if you will, like that kind of criticism, and you only decided this 5 minutes ago that you wanted to do this and there's no way it's going to last. Those criticisms would seem more likely, in my opinion, to be leveled at the non-binaries than the bisexuals. Like, really? You're going to declare yourself to be a... See, and what got me thinking about this is when they were talking about the first non-binary actor in Star Trek, and the actor said, when I came out to my parents as non-binary, and I started thinking about coming out as non-binary. Okay, so you believe that you are neither gender, or you feel through your identity that you're a neither gender. Okay, live that. Like, okay, whatever. Like, what is it you're coming out as? That's my question. See, if you're coming out as gay, you're like, what you're saying is you're going to see me with my boyfriend or my girlfriend, and you need to like kind of fuck down and accept that. It's like, okay, it's like this is my lifestyle. This is how I'm living, and you're going to see me with my boyfriend or girlfriend. Like, that's what you're coming out as, the lifestyle you're pursuing. What lifestyle are you pursuing as a non-binary? What's changed? Like, aren't you really just requesting, here's my non-gendered pronouns? Isn't that really what coming out as a non-binary means? Is you saying, hey, yo, I've always dressed tomboyish or effeminate, whatever way you want to look at it. Really, aren't you just requesting pronouns at that point?
I'm going to take a really controversial perspective on this and say non-binary is merely just a protest gender.
A protest gender? Did you make that up?
I just made it up right now, but it's my... let me justify it. Let me justify it, all right? Because the I don't want to say that it's the part of the transgender debate is revolved around this, but there is a section of the gender debate. Okay, there we go. There is a section of the gender debate that centers around not just people who don't mentally agree with their physical form. There is also a section of people within this gender sexuality debate that just don't want to conform to the gender roles associated with their physical sex. And in that department, we have a lot of confusion, and that's where we get a lot of the extra genders and the non-binary genders, because people want to ascribe a name along the lines of LGBTQ, RS, LMNOP, whatever, similar to the way they want to do it with sexualities in terms of like personalities, the way that they express themselves, essentially. I can 100% say with certainty that if I had been born maybe 5 or 10 years later, in the exact life circumstances that I was in when I was in them, I'd probably have gone through a stint in my life where I identified as transgender female to male because of my understanding of my own expression of my gender, or who I was, basically. Like, I am female physically, but I act more masculine, I dress more masculine most of the time, and I perceive things in a more masculine light. Therefore, wouldn't it logically make sense by current day standards that, hey, that makes me a dude, right? So therefore, I have no gender dysmorphia, or I have no sexual dysmorphia, but I have like a perception of the genders in my head that is dysmorphic to what is normal. And I think where I'm coming from with the protest gender is people no longer fit those camps very happily and no longer want to. So we're at this weird crux in humanity's life cycle where gender norms are more fluid, more flexible, and people are interpreting that as they're a different gender, when in fact, in reality, it's just an expression of them, who they are personality wise, rather than just a whole new way of identifying gender wise. Because yes, you do have your female and male gender roles, but then there's like a spectrum of how to interpret that, how to follow that line, and how to manifest that in physical form. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to change your gender. I don't think your expression of who you are as a person trumps, everything else, and that doesn't need a label for it. It doesn't need an entirely new label at all, which is why I think non-binary, all of the other, like demisexual even, these are protest genders and sexualities. Thoughts?
Okay, so what are they protesting? In that conception, it would be the what?
The gender
Gender
roles
norms?
themselves, because female and male have, until a certain point in time, very strict associations with each of them, and people don't want to be associated with that. Kind of like how I go, oh, I'm apolitical, not apolitical, but like I don't choose a side in terms of
Mm-hmm.
Republican or Democrat, Libertarian, whatever. I refuse to actually say, because Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, they all have their associations, and then the simple identification of those associations with those things leads into a whole bunch of associations. I think that's where people are getting confused, is that their personalities and their expression of who they are as a person is not lining up with the extreme left and right of what the genders are supposed to represent. And therefore, because they don't fit in with what that traditionally has been the case as, they feel like they need to protest that. And I don't think that should be the case. I don't think that's necessary, because at least it doesn't affect me. It hasn't affected me in that way. As a tomboy growing up, I didn't feel the overwhelming need to ascribe to either gender in any such way. It was just who I was. There was no pressure there. Does that make sense?
It does. That doesn't paint people's. That opens up the description of gender being so goddamn wide that.
No. I'm not saying that gender is a personality trait necessarily. I'm just saying that gender is, you have your males and your females, and then people who express their gender on a spectrum. Not that they have a spectrum of genders, but the way that they go about producing that, I guess, to the world in a representative way is all over the place.
Hold on for a quick second. I will be
Okay.
right back.
Yeah, no problem.
Continue to justify your bigotry. I'll be right back.
Thank you to Race Jacobson for the donation. Is Bella and Edward's daughter biracial? Discuss. No, wouldn't she be by species? Like, she's two different species, technically. She's half vampire and half human. So she wouldn't be biracial. She would be by species. Because vampires are a different species from humans. Race would depict like an alternate version of human, unless we're ascribing to the notion that vampires are a different race of human, in which case then yes, but I'm in the camp of people who thinks that humans are one species, vampires are another. Yes, in order to have a vampire you have to have first been a human, but still different species. Yes. Yes. B Junkie. Gender is the interplay between biology and environment. Yeah, kind of. Actually, no, not kind of. Yes, full on. Pair to bear. It's called being responsible and cordial versus being a degenerate orgy having hippie. Are you talking about the way that people express their sexuality and genders on a day-to-day basis? I need a little bit more than that. Assassins of the Great. To the alphabet people, their sexual preference is their personality trait. See, honestly, I don't think it's with everyone of the sexualities. Like, I fully endorse the idea, the notion that pansexuality is a very legitimate sexuality. And my logic behind this, it comes from the people. They're not everyone, but the people out there who are bi, but only want the specific female and male representations that are traditional in their partners, as opposed to the people who are a little bit open to having a female representative with male genitalia, you know, like a she-male, basically, as a sex partner. I think there is wiggle room to have that kind of a thing. So, you know, heterosexuals, homosexuals, bisexuals, and pansexuals, I can see the rationale behind having all four of those sexualities. Beyond that, I'm kind of stumped. I'm a very bit stumped. Because what we have to understand is in the case of sexuality is very much so initially based off of your secondary sex characteristics, because no one walks around, I would hope, with their genitals on full display. So initially all that you're getting from a person is their secondary sex characteristic expressions. So that's beards, that's boobs, that's anything that's not genitalia that you use to kind of gauge what the person is that you're looking at. Beyond that, right, if the genitals don't match up with what the secondary sex characteristics are telling you, that can be a little bit confusing. And some people aren't super turned on by that. Therefore, I don't think bisexual fits that specific niche of sexuality, which is why I think we need to have the pansexual inclusion. Does that make sense, chat?
No.
Hi, Polly.
Hello.
I was just explaining my position on validating the sexualities, specifically pansexuality.
I think people are a little too interested in who's fucking what.
Well, yes, people are too obsessed with categories and labels nowadays. I do agree with this. But in some cases, it might be necessary.
Really?
Eh,
Necessary?
yeah, yeah.
Why?
Well, because I do think that there is a difference between being bisexual and pansexual.
Uh, okay.
Like, I don't know how much you heard from the previous conversation that I had before you got back and you turned on your microphone. But I was explaining why that difference is important from like an attraction standpoint, using primary and secondary sex characteristics to kind of differentiate between why that's important.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you know how people don't walk around with their genitals out, flopping about, all on display
Generally.
every day? Yeah. Those would be your primary sex characteristics. And personally, to me, those are super important to have because the only reason that I would be interested in, having a sexual partner is I wanted to procreate with that person at some point in my life. El Boyfriendo is a prime example of this. I'm interested in procreating with him. Therefore, his
So
genitals are very important.
if you were sterile, you would see no point in coupling.
No, no, I would still couple. But at this juncture in my life, the goal with having a partner is to procreate with that partner. So therefore, I have no interest in anyone else except for if they can give me babies. So I'm very interested in El Boyfriendo's genitals.
I I get your point. I do, but I I don't know. It's okay. Go on. I'm not going to add anything to this. Keep going.
Not the conversation. So there are people who procreation is very important to, and they wouldn't pursue a sexual partner if that wasn't in the end game. Like, if we're talking football terms, if that wasn't in the end zone. And then there are people who don't care as much about that. I guess. And so genitals are not super important to them, but they do have an attraction to male characteristics or one gender's characteristics. So that's primary or secondary characteristics. Maybe they're boob people and they really like the female form, but not because they want to procreate with that, just because they want to do that. That's their thing. Okay, still valid equally. Say you come across a person who secondarily sex characteristically looks female, but primary sex characteristically looks male. I think it's perfectly valid for a bisexual person to not be interested in that person because of the weird, wacky combination that they're confronted with, if that's not their thing. Which is where I think pansexual, that extra label, could be made valid. Whatever their justification being, if they're bisexual but they're interested in a hetero partner just because they want to procreate, that would be the case as to why that would be the case. So I do think that difference is important. I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly, but that's my argument for why pansexuals are valid, or why they need to be valid.
Am I valid? I'm asexual. Or why I know? Asked. Yes. Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
sure.
I mean, when I say whatever, it's just like, what are you doing? Wait a minute. Why am I getting into your business? Yeah, you're valid. What? Like, I just.
Of course.
You're valid by virtue of the fact that you're here and doing your thing. The only thing that's invalid is force of some sort being visited upon another in terms of relationships. Other than that, what's that line that one person said? What consenting perverts choose to do behind closed doors is none of my business.
Yeah. Okay. I should probably amend my whole spiel with, I don't care what the fuck you do. with whom you do it with or how you do it, so long as it's done legally and with consenting adults, we Gucci gang, all right? That's all your business. I'm looking at this specifically from a very intellectual perspective in terms of philosophically. What labels would make the most sense in my head?
Yeah, I don't see the point in seeking external validation, rather, in that sentence. It wait a minute. No, let me say that again. I do see the point in it. I just don't think that people should be doing it. If you're seeking external validation, that should speak to something about you. Why? Why are you doing that? I can understand why someone would do it. I just don't think it's a good thing.
It's not necessarily. Or not necessary.
Anyway. Yeah. And it's like, I get it. We live in a society and so forth and etc. But, it's well, I don't even want to know what the hell race is talking about. My God.
Oh boy, I have no idea where that's come from. I don't want to know.
I don't know. It's like, you're denying my humanity. That's where that comes from. My objection to that thing. It's like, wait a minute. Why are you? I think there's a big difference between saying, when is a consulting couple invalid? And it's like, wait, what? Why is anybody even in the position of judging this at all? I don't get it. It's like the only time it should be any of your business between a consulting couples is when they're not a consulting. Consulting. Are they consulting each other? Are they? The only time it should be anyone's business is when there isn't consent going on. Other than that, it goes both ways. It's like saloon doors. It definitely goes both ways. It's like, why is it any of my business? More to the point, why are you making it any of anyone else's business?
Yeah.
I am thing. Yeah. Okay. Put it on a t-shirt. What else? Why are you telling anybody? That's the whole notion of coming out. Like, unless you're trying to come out to your family or whatever, I don't. Well, shouldn't you live loud and proud? Oh, like the heterosexuals do? Is that it? Like, I love female secondary sex characteristics.
Tits, man. They're great.
Well, you know what? Saying that, yeah, there are actually a lot of people that go around on social media talking about how much they love tits, and it's like, oh, you too? Like, fuck, what do you?
Yeah, no, do what you want, so long as it's not hurting anybody and it's legal and it's consensual.
That reminds me, for some reason.
Honestly, it shouldn't fucking matter.
I saw an interview once with Tupac Shakur, and he goes, I think the difference between me and other men is I really love women. I mean, I really love women. I love the way they talk. I love the way they smell. I love the way they act. And it's like, you really are like you've lost the plot, haven't you? You think you're the only one? It's like, no. I mean, I really love them. And it's like, bro, we all do. Get the fuck over yourself. What are you thinking? What are you talking about?
Oh shit! I did miss Race's super chat. Hang on. If people walked around with their junk hanging out, women would actually be unimpressed a lot sooner. It would save time, actually. No, we are not. We are not having the nudist society debate again on this channel or any other channel that I happen to be on at any point in time. All right? It's not happening. I'm not delving back into that. It's not going to happen. It took me 2.5 years to get that man to get off my back, and he's still stalking my Twitter, it seems.
For you to be a nudist?
The guy who really wanted me to post my nudes on the internet.
Oh, right, because otherwise you're a prude.
Yep, the anti-prude culturist. That guy. Speaking of which, I just got a notification
asking for nudes
from him today. He doesn't even follow me, but he checks up on me every once in a while. No, not asking for nudes, just. It's really weird because he approaches some of the tweets from a very fan-esque perspective, where you just have a casual reply to make to a tweet at any given point in time, as one would. He doesn't follow me though, so he looks me up on purpose to reach out to me to make these comments, but doesn't follow. I'm so confused by this behavior, honestly, but that's okay. It was just one guy race, but he made an impact, all right? It was impactful on my life, and he's still there. I can't escape. Boobs are GTO and GTFO. So speaking of other creepy people on the internet, or not on the internet, but just in general that I've encountered.
I'm not talking about Chris Evans' dick again, Weebo.
No, I wasn't going to say that.
Oh,
it was a little bit more of a serious topic.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay,
I don't know if you saw it, but on Tuesday I posted a kind of alarming series of tweets regarding my experience from closing up the bar on that weekend or that day.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, shall we experience it? I do feel the need to talk about it because it was so alarmist. But also because
really quick, I just remembered somebody a while back said, what are Polly's thoughts on the vampire biracial question? Bella and Edward's kid. No, he would be not biracial, but bi species. Okay, go ahead, Weebo.
Okay.
Was that your take?
Yeah, that was what I said.
Oh, okay. Well, I was gone at that time, remember?
Yeah. Well, I said assuming we ascribe to the belief that vampires are a completely separate species from humans and not just an alternate, better version of human or whatever, or a condemned version of human.
Can I just put this out there?
Mm-hmm.
With Stephenie Meyer's lore, there isn't enough detail to make a call, and I know that sucks because I love lore. Jesus, tune in when me and a fellow Trek nerd start talking about Star Trek. But there's more than enough lore to go full crazy with Trek discussions. Same thing with Lord of the Rings. That universe is more than fleshed out enough to have endless discussions. Lots and lots and lots of other examples of that. When it comes to Meyer's work, people just need to accept that the lore is not fully developed, and she never, ever, ever meant for it to be. To me, that much is clear. She just sexy vampire.
It's just a romance novel, all right?
That's right. It's about the interpersonal relationships and pressures. So yes, romance, but also family and pressure from the Volturi and blah, blah, blah. But again, all interpersonal relationships focused on this one character of Bella. That's it. There's people talk about what's going on with the vampires in her world. Unfortunately, if you're really into it, oh, well, that sucks, but she never wanted any kind of developed lore or structure or whatever, and the explanations she came up with are really shitty and don't work consistently. Yeah, she never cared if they did. It's vampires made of rock, of mineral, with their venom lubricating the rocks, and that's how they move smoothly. What? That doesn't even make any fucking sense. Well, it didn't matter if it did or not. She just didn't want to show blood and gore when they got their heads ripped off, so she made them out of crystal. And it's well, how would something made out of crystal possibly move fluidly? It's bits of crystal lubricated by their vampire venom. It's just, she wants to get back to the interpersonal stories. So anyway, I've heard people arguing over what's going on with vampires, and she doesn't want them bursting into flames when they touch the sun. Well, what would be the other reason they couldn't be in the sun? Because someone would immediately spot them because they sparkle. That's the whole sparkly basis. Is just an alternative explanation to why they can't go in the sun. Full stop. Anyway. I hear people arguing over it. It's guys, I love lore arguments, but there's nothing to sink your teeth into with that world. And talk about the relationships. And if you don't want to, pick another vampire world then.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, you were saying.
Okay, to add on to that, the Stephenie Meyer, not the lore in terms of vampire, but the lore in terms of the individual vampires and their backstories is actually really fascinating. If you ever get the chance, there's a whole book dedicated to going through all of their backstories in detail. I can't remember what the name of it was, but it's I think it was by Stephenie Meyer. And it does go into greater detail about it. There is
is that right?
A lore book.
Okay.
I can't remember what it's called, but I did read it and I did find it fascinating just because of the stories and the people. And they were actually more interesting than the actual Twilight series themselves.
The there were moments when I was made to watch Twilight, and I talked about this with people that I've never read the books, I've only ever seen the films, and I was saying, like with Lucky Pop-Tart, I was talking about this, and I said when I was made to watch that film by an ex-girlfriend, the moments when something interesting would happen, they would immediately move on. And I wasn't just talking about like the mechanics of how vampires work and stuff like that. I mean, like there was this great moment where Bella was having this conversation with what's the dad of the little
Carlisle.
Carlisle. So Bella's having a conversation with Carlisle when she's having her arm fixed up because she just got attacked during her birthday party because a drop of blood came out and they all the southern vampire freaked out and attacked her.
Jasper.
Jasper.
He was the most recent, the fresh brother. Didn't have
the hold back instinct built up over years of practicing. So anyway, so he attacks her and he's repairing her arm. And they had this really interesting conversation but it didn't go anywhere. They just moved the hell on. This idea of how do vampires view souls and the afterlife and spirituality and stuff? It's like, that's actually a really interesting thought, as opposed to them just being blood cravers. What is it that they think they're doing? Do they really think that they're undead? How would they even know one way or another? It's not like they've been filled in on the mechanics of how the entire universe operates. They would have their own ideas of what it's like to be a vampire, the same way a human would have their own ideas of what it's like to be a human, morally and so forth. And it's like, Carlisle, what does he say? He goes, Edward has his ideas and we don't really agree. You know, he's got very strong opinions on this matter. He thinks we're in hell. He thinks that this is our punishment for some way that we lived. And it's kind of an interesting idea, vampires viewing themselves as damned. And the notion of how can you force damnation on somebody just by biting them when they didn't do anything wrong up to that point? There's no choice in the damnation. But again, Stephanie Myers immediately moves away from it right back because all she wants to do is write interpersonal drama. So if you're there for anything else, you're in the wrong place.
It would be interesting. And there are a lot of fan fictions out there that do actually go deeper into the lore and the philosophical things. You just have to look for them beyond the OC self-inserts, of course. There are some golden gems for you to peruse. Assuming you are passionate enough to take the time to do that.
We should do a read of what's it called? Stephanie Meyer's newest book that was the finally
Midnight Sun.
Oh, is that what somebody's okay? That's what Grim Grinners said in chat was Midnight Sun. Yeah, we should do a live read of that because you can do the women's voices and I can do detached, cool, sullen Edward.
Okay. Sure, Jan.
You don't think I'm cool and detached? I totally am.
I don't know. I think we'd have to have auditions. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so let's finally get to the meat and potatoes.
Yes.
So, Polly, I can't believe that you didn't hear this because, I don't know, I would have expected someone to actually say something to you. But this is the inspiration. This is the debate that that I've been having in my head a little bit too since Tuesday over this.
Quick side note, I really need to get TweetDeck up and running. I won't miss nearly as much shit that way.
True.
But yeah, go ahead.
Well, so this kind of inspired a whole thought process in my head that I've been having an internal debate with myself about reacting to and overreacting to situations when you get that gut feeling in your gut, when you get that gut feeling that you might be in danger, that there is some sort of impending doom. Because a few people, well, I'll just read it to you and we'll read some of the extra comments and whatnot that have pushed me in this direction that I don't think are super valid, because I do think that you should play it safe in all cases, but that at the same time also make me question my decision making in this specific instance. So I'll read through it because I do feel less nauseous and shaky about what happened now that it's been a few days and nothing has happened. But let me go into it. So I posted this on Tuesday just after getting out of work, And I said, "Today was the first day in my 22 years of life that I've ever genuinely felt feared for my immediate personal safety at the hands of another human being. And being in the safety of my own home doesn't help because he knows where I live." So I recognized that that was a little bit non-specific, a little bit very non-specific, and so I needed to expand on that. So I posted this thread soon after that kind of goes into detail as to what happened. So I will read that as well. So I said, "I work at a bar at which there are other employees beyond me, one of which stayed late for several drinks along with some regular customers. Over the course of his time watching sports ball, he became progressively forward in his advances, unbeknownst to little old naive Weebo. Apparently, he'd been flirting, and I had given him the impression I was interested despite having El Boyfriendo, whom he's met. The moment I finally realized his intention was when he point blank asked me, 'So how much for infidelity?' after I told him his tab. My heart sank, and the first words out of my mouth were, 'The movie?' This is where he started acting coy and shifting from being even more forward to backtracking as I remarked on the inappropriateness of the other implication. I didn't get scared until I made last call, and he asked for another one in addition to the one I just opened the minute prior, and the other last patrons made to leave. I cut him off. The fear grew as I told him he'd better head home since I was closing up, and he said, 'Nah.' It grew as he talked about going to my place later for our movie. It grew as I counted the drawer, and he kept talking about us, despite my remarks of it being
Us.
inappropriate. It got to the point where I pocketed my knife, where I called my boyfriend, waking him from a dead sleep, telling him to get his happy ass over to the bar while I triple counted the drawer, in part because my hands were shaking so bad, in part to stall for time. The only remotely humorous part is when I mentioned my boyfriend coming by. He remarked about a potential threesome. He didn't leave until my wonderful boyfriend, the light of my life and hero of my world, came into the bar and directly addressed him. It's a shame because I thought we were friends. I don't know what happens to him or me working at the bar, but I've loaded my gun and checked my doors are locked as I write this from my home because this is the same guy who handed me my last paycheck with my address on it." So, that happened Tuesday. And I didn't obviously put every little detail into the tweet thread. Like, I didn't talk about how he actually came behind the bar behind me and was very, very adamant about me hurrying up with my closing out process and getting on with it so that we could hightail it out of there. I didn't mention some of the other things that he said that were very, very forward. Um, I didn't mention him going into the actual beer cooler looking for something to drink, I guess.
Okay.
On top, after I'd already cut him off, by the way. And he's not supposed to be behind the bar anyway. I don't remember, did I say something about asking him to leave point blank? Yes, I do believe that I did. There was a whole bunch of red flags going off in my head as I was standing there, freaking out, counting the drawer and whatnot. And a few people, not a lot, but a few people made comment, and I gotta find where it was. But something along the lines of me overreacting, how it was the tweet thread was a big nothing burger in the long run, that nothing happened. It was all like me overreacting. And I understand the notion of like, oh well, nothing came of it, nothing happened to you. You're fine, aren't you? I think you're overreacting. And well, yes, nothing did happen. And the worst that did happen to me was me getting a little bit freaked out by a guy who would just not take no for an answer. Um, Gigantic nothing burger. Nothing happened because I did react, because I did call boyfriendo. There is no doubt in my mind that that would have not ended very well had I not hopefully had or had I not had El Boyfriendo come in and approach. But at the same time, I'm also doubting myself slightly. I've had time to think and process and doubting myself and being like, oh, well, maybe, perhaps, theoretically, I was just overreacting. um, um, he was just acting drunk, and it was all in the moment, and he actually was completely perfectly harmless in everything that he was saying. And maybe I've just ruined this guy's life. Maybe maybe it was all fine. It was all gonna be fine. Maybe. But um, that's less than the feeling of good thing nothing happened, good thing I acted, good thing that I was on top of shit and that I listened to my gut. Because in the event that something had happened, I would be more of a wreck than I was on Tuesday. Shit would have been a lot more real. I don't know how I would have handled it, but at the back of my mind, there is that little shred of doubt, and I hate that there is that, but there is, and I want to talk about it.
The shred of doubt?
That shred of doubt of like, oh, did I just ruin this guy's not life, because I didn't actually, nothing happened, right? So nothing he can be held responsible for. But I did tell my boss. I did have my boss tell her boss, who is the general manager of the bar. So our shifts are going to change. Shit's going to be adjusted. I don't know. I don't even know if he's been fired at this point. I haven't been back to the bar since that Tuesday or the next Wednesday when I got an update, and I haven't seen him at all, thank God. And I don't know what's going to happen when I actually do interact with him. But yeah, it was a whole ass thing. I really do want to find the tweet thread that someone else posted, because
that they posted.
Well, not that they posted, but they had like a whole. They had a reply to this. It was not this one, but he was a little bit nasty too. Oh, there we go. Roman Reaver. He said, "Drunk plus pushy, nothing too bad." And then of course Uzi Q goes, "You're a dick," but he goes, "Yeah, but I've effectively dealt with drunk women who wanted to get handsy without having him go ballistic, and I've also spooked more than my fair share of muppets off my exes and my current lass, so I know how to handle shit." Then Lucky Pop Tart goes, "Are the women any bigger than you? Are way bigger than you? Could they easily overpower you if they decided to? I'm not saying it doesn't suck, but the fear level isn't the same if you aren't very short and small. As I taught my gal, there are 2 to 3 places where you can strike to disable long enough to pull out a weapon. Size doesn't matter. Any situation where you're fucked is if you get penned and there's less than 5 centimeters to work with." And that's not really the point, because the point isn't how well prepared you are for an actual instance versus not. That's not the point, because you're still going to have that fear regardless of how prepared you are for a situation. I am trained in martial arts. I have a black belt. I have shot a gun before. I had a knife on me, for Pete's sake. My boyfriend was coming.
But so if that's not the issue, what is?
The fear, the discomfort, the anxiety of having to be put in that position where you might have to fend for your life.
Well, okay, but all right, fair enough. But you were also putting a lot of weight on the self-doubt and re-examination of the situation, and it seems related to what people have been saying on Twitter. Is it, or am I misreading?
Well, there was another guy who said, he blocked me though, so I don't actually have his shit, but he called me a snowflake, and he said he said basically, "Oh, I read this whole thing and it was all for naught. There was no point in it at all. It was a big gigantic nothing burger." And I'm like, sir, would you have rather I had gotten assaulted and decapitated and stripped naked and left in the woods, Black Dahlia style? Would that have been your preference? Would that have been a more enticing and legitimate case for this Twitter thread? Because if that were the case, the Twitter thread would not exist. But that was another thing too. And then, yeah, there was more. I do believe. I do recall.
I
Think.
mean, you sound justified in your concerns, especially because what stands out to me is you're saying this isn't the regular situation, so it's not like you were keyed off by what was happening because you have a tendency towards a histrionic interpretation of what's going on around you. You're saying there were particular things that were setting off your instincts, that this is, no good. This is
Mhm.
really, really no good, especially after repeatedly trying and not receiving any kind of acknowledgement on his. It didn't seem like he cared what you were, no, we're going to just go ahead with this. Yeah, that seems, pushy and past what you're used to dealing with grabby guys or drunk guys, and you do work at a bar and you're a woman in the world.
Mhm.
So that idea. Now, as for Twitter, um, well, I think you can imagine what I'm going to say about Twitter.
Oh,
Uh,
listen to Twitter. It's all bullshit. Yeah.
well, it's, I guess that's what it ultimately boils down to. What I'm saying. That's how I end all my statements.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well,
No,
here's.
it's hot takeville.
I know.
People are people are going to come in and say what are they going to do? Come in? I'm sorry that happened to you. Why would they even bother to type? I think people feel an inherent, for some reason, pressure to have a hot take, whether it's um, extremely conciliatory, like oh my god, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Hugs, anything I can do for you, or what the fuck you complaining about? Jesus Christ! Like it's hot or coldville on
Mhm.
Twitter. So of course people are going to say some dumb shit like that. I'm not saying it should make it easy. I'm just saying that's something you should keep in mind. I'm more concerned that you are doubting your instincts, if that is one of your main concerns.
That is my main concern. Is that I do feel uh, a sliver of self doubt. It's not a large amount. I do think that I was in the right 100% or 99%, but there is that one little sliver of self doubt of like, well, but what if, um, that I'm harboring in my brain, and it's unfortunate because hopefully, I'm hoping that this doesn't happen, but that little sliver of self doubt is gonna make me second guess another initial reaction in the event that this might happen ever again.
Right.
And that really sucks. It really, really sucks that is the case. In my opinion, that I now have a perspective of, but he was just drunk. He was harmless, nothing would have come of it kind of mentality.
Well, it's like Midnight in Exile said. It's he gave you every indicator that there was the potential for something to be bad,
Yeah.
like really bad to come out of it. I mean,
Like my whole
the,
checklist
the,
was knocked off. I was alone. It was dark. I was handling money. He was drunk. He was not stopping. I had a boyfriend. I mentioned he was coming and that, he knew it. Like every single little checkbox was marked off to tell me that, hey, this is not a bueno situation. You're going to end up in a really, really worse situation if you don't take steps to not have this be the case.
I mean, like I said, you do not have a tendency towards histrionics or theatrics in this way. So, uh, okay, you know what? Doubting yourself because nothing actually did happen, I would argue, is natural, especially if you're somebody who's into self analysis, which you certainly are. But God, don't let it change your actions in the future at all. You don't have a tendency towards this, and if there was something that got your dander up, there was probably, I have every reason to believe there was good cause. And you handled it with rationality. It's not like you handled it by blasting them or something.
Mm-hmm.
You got yourself ready. You made the calls that you needed to make. And if you had gone further than that, I still think you were justified. So, let it be said, fuck the people on Twitter that have their hot takes.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers have hot takes about fucking everything.
Well,
and more than likely, they're talking about their own life more than they're talking about yours.
Oh yeah, this guy had a whole thread of advice to give me. So I responded to him, and some of it was interesting, but I'll read it here. Let's list more anxiety-causing things that aren't too bad, but can absolutely lead to something bad if not vigilant. Trespasser on private property, random stranger approaching a child, leaving your car unlocked outside, letting your dog go leashless near a busy street, and then the, the nice little gif right here that's been playing. And he goes, none of which is on that level. Like the closest to it would be leaving your purse in your car in a non-sketch area. My advice, leave to be more direct, or learn to be more direct with drunkards and not overreact. Pocket knife for a dude who's thirstier than the Atacama. And I told him to leave. I told him he was being inappropriate. How much more direct can I be? Like honestly, I have no words. And he goes, quote, dude, this isn't code for I don't want I want it, daddy, but try harder. It's bitch, I have a boyfriend and I ain't sharing it and he ain't sharing either. So get your ass out of here, basic drunkard. So apparently I was direct enough, but I wasn't speaking the lingo correctly, and that was his problem. And I'm just like, what difference would that have necessarily made if I was brash and direct and slangy in my delivery of a rejection?
Talking extra, making the same point, but talking extra harsh to a drunk, possibly belligerent guy isn't a recipe to make the situation worse. The moron on Twitter sitting safely at his home, talking boldly through his keyboard, can script whatever movie scene he wants to in his head and come up with a list of justifiable situations in his mind whereby it would have made more sense to blah blah blah. Okay, yeah, you know what? I don't live in your fantasy world, man. I live in the real world that is full of ambiguity and mixed signals and all sorts of shit. And you could say like, oh, well, you should have been harsher with them. For all you know, that would have set them off into belligerentness, because people often are much more bellicose when they're drunk. You might have provoked him into action by carrying on like that. He doesn't know. And then what would he say then? Oh, well, you shouldn't have talked to him so harshly. Everybody online is a fucking know-it-all. If you don't have a tendency towards this stuff, and you felt something was wrong, and nothing bad came out of it, whatever the fuck you do, don't doubt your instincts. That's my call.
Yeah. The follow-up comment, and the more aggressive and intimidating you appear before busting out any weapons, the more likely it is to not have to escalate further. With a drunk person, they're vastly more unpredictable than a non-drunk person is.
Definitely.
In my experience. I've had people that suddenly bolted across the street for no fucking reason other than they just had the instantaneous desire to do so. I've had people who ran down whole ass dormitory stairs just on impulse that we had no indication of beforehand. It just was in the moment, instantaneous. I've had people who did physically assault people that I didn't even realize was going to happen beforehand, just on a whim, because the thing. I've had my boyfriend jump through a freaking drywall while drunk on a
Did you say jump through drywall?
Jump through drywall. He
Okay.
Just randomly.
Sounds sober to me, but I don't know.
The only way that you can actually gauge and predict how a person's going to react when they're intoxicated based on like circumstances, if you know that person really well and you know them when they're intoxicated really well. And even then, it's a crapshoot. They could do anything. Drunk people are unpredictable. You do have to eggshell walk around them. And then he goes, as an aside, the words you used, I've had them used by women, and when I bailed, some of them turned around and were like, what the fuck? Yeah. 2, also had BFs. Be kinetic, round direct, as there's an appreciable NR people out there who will use your type of words to actually signal interest. That I do understand. I understand that there are people who will interpret when they're super drunk. But that's still no excuse. And that doesn't mean that I have to then take my language and translate it into something else. Right? Like,
yeah.
I know in 20th century mumble rap vernacular is a no in any freaking vernacular. No amount of drunken dismissiveness is going to change that. And if you just choose to ignore it as a drunken person in that moment, nothing that I could say would have deterred this man. Because I even went as far as to say, "Oh, think of me as your mother," essentially, in the terms of the conversation, and he went, "Ew," at one point, and that didn't even deter him. And I'm just like, hmm?
Yeah, well, that's
It
yeah,
was
it's a little crazy. I'm
it
getting a
was
sense of
an
this
experience.
conversation, and it's like, what the hell?
Yeah,
Right.
it's a really really serious conversation, but I wanted to have it because I do want there to be an understanding for anyone out there who might happen to find themselves in this position of like self doubt that self doubt's okay, but in instances where your safety is a matter of question, don't let it get in your way of acting. And I'm going to need that reminder in the future, absolutely, if this ever happens again. Certainly, certainly, certainly. Don't let any self doubt that you have get in the way of your safety because that should be your number one priority. The concern of whether or not you're overreacting should be secondary, tertiary, even. Don't let it get in the way. And I'm going to need to be reminded of that. Freaking tattoo to my forehead for all I care. Mm. But yeah, so that was my Tuesday, and that kind of ruined the rest of my week, Polly. Not gonna lie,
That really did it.
it did.
That's
Cause
that really sucks that it hung with you that much. I'm not saying it shouldn't have. It's just fucking hell.
well, that was the first time it's ever been that bad, been that scary. That's the first time,
Right.
like I said in my initial tweet, that's the first time in my life I've ever actually feared for my immediate personal safety. And had it been prolonged past the point of, you know, in that moment, like a boyfriendo came to the bar and the guy left immediately as soon as he got there, but I was still shaken up. I was shaking as I was like gripping my boyfriend, going, "Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much." I was
Oh,
near tears as I was counting the drawer, and he was standing there right next to me. It was the worst I've ever felt in my entire life. And the fact that nothing happened makes it even more worse because, like, now I have to reconcile that level of feeling with what happened. And quite frankly, it doesn't quite match up, but that gut feeling that I received, that didn't go away. That wouldn't go away no matter how much I tried to be like, okay, fine, it's fine, it's fine. Nothing's happening yet. Nothing's happening yet. It was so jarring for me.
yeah. You know, fear of danger, even mortal danger. Yeah, it's a fucking cold bucket of water, no question.
Yeah. Irving twin. Don't get sexually assaulted because not getting sexually assaulted would be rude. Quite frankly, my biggest concern as it was happening was like as I was counting the drawer, I was super freaked out because I knew nothing was going to happen in the bar while I was counting the drawer. At least I hoped nothing would happen. But the drawer itself is monitored by an actual camera, and I knew that if I stayed right there for as long as I possibly could, at the very least, I'd have proof that I'd be assaulted if I were assaulted. But I'd hoped that that would at least deter him somewhat from acting in any capacity. And so I just maintained my position right there and waited for a boyfriendo to show up. But I knew I had this very burning feeling that the moment that I left the bar itself, that I shut down all the lights, that I started walking to my car, that something would go down because there's only one way to go, and he would not leave ahead of me, and he wouldn't leave unless it was with me, and he would probably end up walking me to my car, and he would probably end up trying to make a move there at my car, and would probably culminate into, yeah.
Bad news. See, I mean, that's a reasonable thing. I mean, the guy's waiting around that long, and you're counting you said triple counting the cash drawer, which is understandable because you're trying to stretch it out. Like, why don't you just leave? And you've already asked him to leave, and he's not. I mean, this sounds like a giant host of reasonable expectations. So for someone to say like, "Oh, you were overreacting," how did you overreact? It's in your estimations of what could go wrong. No, I don't see it that way at all.
Yeah. So yes, I hope to never, ever, ever let my second guessing of instincts get in the way of reacting to my instincts.
Never let that
is my
happen.
prayer.
Yeah.
So I will make this pledge to everyone now here, as I live and breathe. Weebo Jones will react according to instinct in those cases.
For you.
But that did spur me to get my concealed carry holster, and I do at some point in the next month need to go and actually sign up for the course to get my concealed carry, because in my state at the very least you need to have all the coursework affiliated with concealed carry certification to get your concealed carry permit. So
constitutional carry, am I right?
If only. Race Jacobson, thank you for the donation. And now something completely different, the Reboot CGI show. Reboot CGI show.
Which one?
I don't know. Yeah, which one?
I'd imagine a parody show called the Reboot CGI show. Oh my.
You know what? You know what's interesting? My whole experience with second guessing has given me like a whole new perspective on police officers. Like, I already had a secondary like a whole new perspective on police officers and how they conduct their work and the current climate, especially. Mm-hmm. And my second guessing of my own safety instincts, my instincts, has given me perspective, I guess. Because now we come into a time when police officers are also probably grappling with second guessing their own actions or their potential own actions in circumstances where their lives very much do check all the boxes of, dude, you're in danger, you could die, aspects. Because they're wondering if reacting in a way that would protect their own lives is worth all of the heartache that comes with the aftermath of that in our current political climate. And that's just a fucking goddamn shame. Did that make sense? Did that make sense coming out of my face?
Yeah, it does. The political climate's a whole different kettle of fish, man. It's just agitators pushing for things like, and their means of agitation are not riots, etc., are not going to achieve the ends that they claim they want. So what the fuck? But here we are, nonetheless.
Mm-hmm. It's a very interesting time that we live in.
Unfortunately, I haven't wanted politics to be boring as much as I do right now.
Yeah, is this too much action for you?
A little bit.
Polly, are you tired of the current political climate and all that comes with it? I frankly quite am. Yes.
If there was something to be in opposition over, I mean, like, if you're talking like opposition to the Iraq War, or Vietnam, or something, at least you're opposing something. Like, what is it you people are in opposition to? The white supremacy or something thing, or like whatever, man. We're here for Black lives. It's like that you cared about as of 5 seconds ago. What the fuck are you talking about? black people killed by police officers is at an all-time low. And you goddamn well know that. Well, one is too many. Well, okay, thanks for the sanctimonious false righteousness. I don't know. You're damn right. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the hard-boiled, over the topness of fucking every political discussion. You have to understand. I got sick of it really. I got to this point pretty quickly because I spent so much time on a campus and people there with their added degree of self-righteousness. It's been intense for a minute now.
Yeah. That's quite frankly a large part of the reason why I decided against becoming a police officer. Because I recognized that the political climate was changing in terms of how we looked at police officers specifically and how we regarded them acting in the line of duty and how we reacted and how that would eventually adjust the way that they reacted because of how the public perceived them based off of the actions of other officers, how they would perceive their own actions as in the heat of the moment and how that would affect them. And I didn't want to have to grapple with that uncertainty and the aftermath of that because I didn't want to have to handle that. Does that make me a coward or does that make me smart? I wonder. The notion of not wanting to have to put up with all of the bullshit that today's officers do.
If you were being drafted, a question of cowardice might come up, but it's wholly and completely a voluntary thing. So, coward? No.
But it's also kind of I don't know. Yeah, no, I have nothing to add to this, I guess. I was going to articulate something about Kyle Rittenhouse and how that perspective relates to itself. But I haven't a fully formed thought on the matter at the moment, unfortunately. I think it requires more thought. So I'm going to hold off.
Daniel Fulman asked, did I ever get my church warden pipe? Not yet. And you know what the problem is with a good pipe, like really quick, as a really quick aside? Yes, you can go on to Amazon and see a whole number of pipes there. I certainly have more than once. But you want a good briarwood pipe or a wood that's similar, very porous yet dense wood that gives you a nice cool smoke, et cetera, and not something that's going to a pipe made from China that's that claim it's made of briarwood, and then you go into the description and there's all sorts of people saying, okay, they claim that this was briarwood, it's not. It's like, well, big shock, China mislabeled some Fugazi merchandise. It's harder to find a quality pipe than you would fucking think, and it's like, well, what? It ends up being expensive enough to get something that you damn well know is made in country and actually is the wood that it's made of, and it kind of looks generally like the one you wanted. But by the time you've done that, you're looking at $60, $70, $80 as opposed to more like 20 to 30, which is where I was hoping to tap out at. So I don't know. I need to get back into it, but fuck, man. Chinese pipes are fucking everywhere, and you can't fucking trust them, man.
So Pere de Bear says, if you believed in the cause of a specific war but refused to fight in it, then maybe. Probably relation to my averseness to joining the police force and whether or not that makes me a coward or smart. I get it. I do believe in the idea of upholding the law, and I think that it's necessary, but at the same time, I don't think that I would be as effective now, currently, in today's political climate, as I would have been previously. And I think that would do an injustice. I think I would be hesitant. I think I would hesitate to pull the trigger in a case, because I'm not thinking about justice so much as I'm weighing is my life worth all of the heartache that comes with pulling this trigger if I do? So I don't think I would be as effective. And I do think that I would hesitate. Does that realization make me a coward?
Well, according to statistically speaking, you're
I think Polly just muted himself. Did Polly just cut himself off? Polly, come back. Oh, shit. I'm so curious. Polly, are you there?
hello.
Are you okay?
Man, you adjust the little plug on the bottom of the mic and everything goes to hell.
Okay. What were you saying?
That was sudden, abrupt, and unnecessary. Hey, if you don't want to get into the quagmire that is policing currently, that's fine. I don't know why. I don't really think you should spend so much time talking about whether you would hesitate in the moment that's statistically unlikely to happen. And more important, you do not have a duty incumbent upon you. A bunch of people said that in chat. Like if you shrink from a given responsibility, it's not your responsibility to be a law enforcement officer. It's not like you're being called to duty in terms of that or military wise.
Yeah.
Now, if you ran to another country when you were being called up in your military, yeah, there's some serious soul searching issues you need to look into, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But in this one, no.
Yeah, no, I do feel like I have to grapple with this realization too, though. Because of the most recent video that I posted to the channel of how I made that whole like spiel of pleading to the youth of America to be cowards and let the adults handle all the situations, and how I got so much backlash for that. I also feel a little bit of self-doubt over my position, although I do think that I'm still justified. I have grappled with the alternate positions on some level and considered them, and some fully dismissed, and some fully dismissed based on principle, and some not wholly, that I'm still grappling with. I do a lot of thinking, people. I'm sorry.
I see what people are saying about like, oh, I didn't realize Weebo was wearing glasses because yeah, when you sit at a certain angle, because they're virtually frameless. It just the reflection from your screen kind of covers your eye, so it looks like, oh shit, there's something wrong with my screen. I see what people are talking about.
Sorry.
I mean, it's not a problem. It's just weird. But Daya Fulman asks to be lighthearted after substantive issues.
Sorry.
Well, nah, I'm just saying the whole thing can't be can it?
Or well, we've already entered the third hour. We're almost done with the third hour, but that's what happens in the third hour of cocktail hour is we get real deep and serious, I guess.
Yeah, and then the drinking continues and it turns into the I love you man phase.
I love you, man. You're the best. Yeah, we're not there yet.
What have you noticed about glasses that you didn't notice before? Are you worried about falling asleep in them and crushing them? You worried about sitting on them? That's what I'm curious about.
Actually, I was watching. So I had my sister over last night. We had a sleepover, and we were watching movies. And the second movie I fell asleep during, it was Don't Mess with the Zohan. I had taken my glasses off, and I put them down on like my chest or whatever. And I guess at a certain point, I had moved, and one of the little ear nubbin things had shifted in such a way that I was worried that it had permanently just warped. And so I freaked out. I'm like, oh, no. I've only had them for a week. I know they went back to their normal position, but it did freak me out. And so that makes me all the more cognizant of like, okay, I got to take them off and put them away before I go to sleep or even consider napping in any way. So there's that. But at the same time, also, differences between seeing and non-seeing. I didn't realize how bad my vision was until I started wearing glasses full time, and like now I can see the difference, and it is astonishing. Polly, you ever like mildly boozed up and with like slightly distorted vision No? Yes.
Do I ever get boozed up with slightly distorted vision? Is that what you just asked?
Slightly boozed vision. Like you could still see, you could still make things out, but it becomes all the more difficult to focus and actually read shit.
Yeah.
That was me before glasses, apparently.
You were going through your life with booze vision?
Booze vision, yeah, apparently. Like I can still read everything. It was just like, you know, like I have to focus a little harder and I have to concentrate more. And I have to maybe squint or open my eyeballs a little bit so I can focus more. It's a really weird realization to find out that the computer screen is actually very much easier to read than what I had been doing my whole life. Editing is going to get a lot easier, a lot faster, and reading too. The scripts are going to be so much easier to read with the glasses on because now I don't have to squint and reread shit, and I won't be fucking up as much as I used to be. So,
Is that what you think's going on?
what? That I couldn't see what I
That
was
you're fucked.
reading?
Yeah, you're fucked up when you would drop the ball doing script reads is because of your vision.
I think that's why, yeah.
It's an interesting thought. I had never considered that. Maybe I would read a lot better on scripts if I got the pair of glasses.
Mm-hmm. Did they give you a headache when you first started wearing them, Weebo? Um, there was a little bit of eye strain afterwards with the corrected vision and stuff. I was disorientated. Um, so I felt dizzier for about a day and a half. And definitely I had to like take the glasses off and like do this a few times at work because now I was reading a computer screen with corrected vision and I could actually see everything that I was doing. And it was very jarring. It was very, as I said, disorientating. So that was an adjustment.
Are you saying that for laughs or
Yeah.
what? Okay.
I'm waiting for you to notice, Polly.
Well, I thought I'd ask because some people come in and correct jokes, and that's annoying. So,
Excuse me?
what?
I can't mess with you?
What, me? No, you totally can. I was just saying. So
Okay.
I thought I would ask because somebody corrected me on something I was kidding about the other day, and I was like, "Really? You're going to correct jokes? You were joking. You didn't know." I kind of did. I'm trying to remember what word it was. I don't know.
Assassins of the Gray says he avoids Adam Sandler movies like the plague. I, for one, adore Adam Sandler and anything he creates on this green earth. I swear, except for Jack and Jill, everything else is beautiful. It's good
Really?
family fun. It's good family fun and good family content. All right. I grew up on Adam Sandler movies with my parents or with my dad and my family. It's a good time. All right.
No, I
Adam
line up
Sandler
with I line up with the mob on that one. Fuck Adam Sandler because a hack.
He's a good boy. I also fall into the camp of Nickelback actually makes good music, so all right, how many people are unsubscribing now? Don't leave. Come back. We can have differences.
Not on this.
We can't. Are you quitting as co-host of Cocktail Hour now? Was that all it took?
No, I knew you had terrible taste.
Oof. Is that why SDA left me? Because she found out about my Nickelback love.
I understand Nickelback is strongly disliked. And I've heard like fragments of Nickelback here and there, but I don't have any strong opinions. I haven't heard enough of it to give a fuck.
There are a few songs that I really like Rockstar. That was my anthem as I was growing up. And that song, I didn't realize how inappropriate it was until I could understand everything that was inappropriate about it. All right. Here, let me read you some of these lyrics. Holly, let's. You'll understand. Here, let me see. I need a credit card that's got no limit and a big black jet with a bathroom in it. Gonna join the Mile High Club at 37,000 feet. I want a new tour bus full of old guitars. My own star on Hollywood Boulevard. Somewhere between Cher and James Dean is fine for me. I want to trade this life for fortune and fame. I'd even cut my hair, change my name, because we all just want to be big rock stars, living hilltop houses, driving 15 cars. The girls come easy and the drugs come cheap. We all stay skinny because we just won't eat, and we'll hang out in the coolest bars, in the VIP with the movie stars. Every good gold digger is gonna wind up there. Every Playboy bunny with her bleach blonde hair, and we want to be rock stars. I fucking love that song. I still love that song. I've always loved that song, and I can sing it 100% without fucking up along with the song. Okay, not just cold like this. But I want you to imagine a smaller version Weebo at 8 years old singing that in
Cheap
the car.
drugs.
The girls come easy and the drugs come cheap. Imagine an 8-year-old Weebo singing that.
That's the problem with America right there. Rock music.
Okay, and I want you to understand that the person who introduced me to this song was my own father. Dado Jones. Oh, this was on his this was back when he had a mixtape.
Really?
Yeah. He had a mixtape with some of his favorite songs on there, and this was one of them, I guess. This, in addition to what song was it? Lay It on the Line by Triumph. Another family favorite, by the way. We love it. We love to see it. We love to sing it. It's a good time all around. I think I was 8 when this came out. When did Rockstar come out?
The first time I'm hearing the song, as far as I know.
Came out in 2005. So Weebo was... I gotta do some quick math here, kids. It's cocktail hour. I was 7 when this song came out, actually. Yep. We love to see it. We truly do.
There's
Grace
some
Jacobson
frames for your consideration.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
This too big.
But they're small. They're understated.
No.
Blend nicely into the face.
Right.
You know?
How about these frames, Polly?
There you go.
Yeah.
Look at that. See, you get it.
Maybe. Up next, Weebo starts liking the Star Wars prequels. I actually like the prequels too. Okay? Unpopular opinion. They have a certain charm about them. I don't mind them. Like, I wouldn't take them seriously, but they're fun. They're fun to watch.
Is that Peter Griffin in drag? That is one of the writers for the She-Ra Princesses of Power.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And when I saw that picture, I had to get a screen grab. I was like, really?
This feels rough, man.
That's somebody who shows up at work knowing what they look like. You know what I mean? Like, got the job because they look like that. I'm guessing, but I don't really think I'm very far off.
Do I look cute with them on top of my head?
Yes. You lost the cute. Wow, that didn't take long.
Yeah, rough. I'm sorry. Ugh. So shall we say 6 minutes of questions until we end this puppy?
Sure.
But like this puppy. I don't know why I said puppy. Apparently I have a desire to end puppies? Question mark? There's a bug on my screen. It's gone now. Yeah, no, I genuinely do not understand the Nickelback hatred.
No?
I just don't. I mean, it was explained to me uh, that apparently the lead singer, I think his name is Chad Kroger or whatever, but the lead singer of Nickelback is a dick and does dicky things, and hence that is the reason why we cannot like the whole band and any of the music that they produce. But that just doesn't justify it to me. Like, you can have a dick person writing a banger of a song and still enjoy it. I mean, the name itself, Nickelback, should not preclude you from enjoying something just simply because it's affiliated with that. In my opinion, separate the art from the artist, the name from the art. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Irving Jordan said, Nickelback's first album was so good they released it 4 more times. Rough. Big oof. I'm a particularly big fan of, okay, hear me out, hear me out. If you want to hear an actual, like, feels Nickelback song, all right, if you're open to it, if you're open-minded enough, consider listening to Nickelback's Lullaby and watching the music video. It had me in fucking tears. And when did that one come out? Oh, that's a good question. But it is it's a heartbreaker stab thingy. Came out in 2011. It's a good song. They make decent music. I don't get the hate. I'm sorry. I don't. I genuinely do not. Okay, questions. Thoughts on Kanye West peeing on his award? Good for him.
Kanye West is bipolar? You're kidding.
Polly, explain the picture on the screen, please.
I think it's self-explanatory, personally.
No, I think you need to explain. Is that a burrito?
It's a burrito with a scope.
That's a burrito with a scope.
Uh-huh.
That's a burrito-scope?
It's a tactical burrito. What do I need to explain here?
It's okay. What is the point of the tactical burrito?
How else are you going to aim it? Use the force?
Why do you need to aim a burrito?
Oh, if I need to explain that to you, we're just...
I don't know why.
Oh my God, that's so racist.
The tactical burrito is racist? I'm not the one that brought it up.
No, that's not racist. This is racist.
Oh, show it to me. I want to know. Can you find the black guy? No, because he is a human, just like the rest of us. Just kidding. He is in jail. God damn it, Polly.
And I'm putting this up as an example of what's not funny.
Mm-hmm.
I saw you laughing. My God.
I like a spicy joke as much as the next gal.
Maybe it should make people feel better that are sensitive about such things. A friend of mine sent that to me, and he's black, so it's okay for some reason.
Oh, all right, good. We're fine then.
We're what?
We're fine then. It's good.
Yeah, right. Take pictures of the people that send you your memes, and then all of a sudden it's okay because complicated reasons that make no sense to me.
Submitted by this person of Caucasian descent. Submitted by this person of Hebrew descent, submitted
Well,
by a person of
it's funny you
Palestinian
say
descent.
Hebrew. I have heard jokes that had to be explained, Jew jokes that had to be explained to me by the Jewish person that told them to me, because I was like, I don't even get it. And like, all right, let me give you some background. I was like, okay.
All right.
And they go through this big long like 5 minute of contextual explanation, and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that was a lot of work to get there. And they're like, it's funny though, right? I'm like, yeah, I think if I had the context beforehand, I guess that would have been funny. If I had your leave to laugh or something, I guess.
Yeah, no, if you have to explain context in a joke, the joke becomes infinitely less funny because you didn't get it. Daniel Fulman has made a special request. Can I take off my glasses dramatically? Certainly. Was that dramatic enough, Polly?
Hold on, I missed it.
God damn it. All right, hang on.
No, you need to work. First of all, single-handed, like let's say you're right-handed, you thrust from the right to the left while not looking away from the camera.
Okay, all right. Let me try it one more time. Hang on.
Okay. It's getting better, but these yeah, there you
All right, someone gif that, please. If it was good enough, please gif. Assassin the Great, Weebo Jones. You know, for question time, you were not paying any attention to chat. Hashtag just saying. I know. Except guess what? It's no longer question time. We're a minute over. I just realized that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining myself and Polly on our wonderful journey of several different directions this fine evening, Saturday, the 19th of September.
That's you know this you're not wrong. It's like, you have several different directions. Yeah, this is the stream equivalent of doing donuts in a stolen car in a parking lot. This is
Everything just goes everywhere. We
right.
covered all of the bases. We went to some highs, we went to some lows, we had pictures even. Oh, it's a stream that got everything. Anyway, Polly, thank you so much for joining me on our wonderful endeavor to everything land.
Mm-hmm.
To
always a good time.
Schizophrenic ADHD land.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's wild, undirected, and possibly dangerous to the people that are directly involved. Welcome to our stream.
Welcome to Cocktail Hour.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed your stay.
Yeah. But yeah. Fun to watch the disaster ready to happen at any second. See, it's just like doing donuts in a stolen car in a parking lot.
There you go. But yeah, Polly, thank you for joining me. I'm glad to have you as always. I'm sorry that we didn't get last weekend. People missed out on our lovely bands last week. That was all me. I take full responsibility for that.
It's all right. You know what I've had asked for? More Weebo on Noir Bar.
Really? Yeah. Oh, we will make it happen for the people.
Apparently, me interacting with guys isn't as much fun as me interacting with girls. This is what I've been told. I don't know.
I guess I don't know.
I
don't have a preference, frankly.
I guess I'm markedly less crude when there's women around. I don't see it, but okay.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Thank you to those who donated, to those who subscribed, to those who shared, liked, and commented as well, to those who joined the Discord. Thank you so much to every single person who's done their part to support both myself and Polydub. We deeply appreciate every little bit.
Oh, God, no wonder no one's here. Fucking Adonis Paul's streaming. Okay.
Anyway. Polly, anything to shill this week?
Oh yeah, I do have 2 videos to finish editing that I totally forgot I was even working on. No, Weebo, one of them isn't ours. But I came up with a hilarious idea for a short video short that I'm going to put up on my channel. It shouldn't take very long to record with Weebo, but getting it to be scheduled with Weebo, that's going to be the hard part.
We'll work on it. All right.
You know what the thing is, chat, and I'll tell you something real quick. Don't worry about it, Weebo. Just stop rolling your eyes. Uh, Adonis Paul, I've never heard of it. Everyone's heard of AP. Quit being a dick, Pear to Bear. I want a kitty. Anyway, Weebo once wanted to record our reactions to Twilight. Okay, we'll see how Miss Thang will do with a 90-minute to 2-hour record and how much difficulty there is in editing it down to the good parts. It's yeah.
Probably you underestimate me and my stamina in the editing bay.
I think you'll largely be editing out of spite to demonstrate that you can do it, which, yeah, and I'm certainly aware of how motivating spite can be.
Oh, it's
I'm not lost on that.
I'll have you know.
Yeah, but in any case, yeah, there are videos coming out, and if you're interested as to what Weebo sounds like on Noir Bar, you can check out the birthday stream. It was a good time. And then the lower energy hangover stream the next day because of, well, it's right in the name. I was pretty hungover. Who was there for that? It was Jack and Farr, and Sinatra showed up after a little while. It was a good time. It was a little, yeah.
Sorry I couldn't be part of it.
You said you couldn't.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounded like you were trying to like sideways shade me.
No.
For not sending you an invite.
No,
like,
there was a second part of that statement, and that was I was busy getting not sexually assaulted.
Oh yeah, that would have been the Monday following. Yeah, that would have been the Tuesday, and it was the Tuesday,
following
right?
The Monday,
right? The Tuesday following the Monday. Yeah.
Yeah. At least we can joke about it now. Anyway, so
all right.
You had a good stream then.
Yeah, it was all right. It was pretty low energy, but I was very hungover and not feeling particularly talkative, so I'm not even sure why I just didn't call in sick to the bar.
Because you said you wanted to, I guess. I don't know.
See that you know what I need to do is have somebody host Noir Bar while I just sit there and watch. I'll send them the stream key, and it's like it would be like giving somebody the keys to the bar. You know, send them the stream key, and it's like, hey, you go back to 1942 and host Noir Bar. I want to watch, see what this is like.
But they have all of the bells and whistles that you usually use.
Far as I know, all the pop-ups would happen, and I'd get all the money. So I'm all, you know. And then I could sit there and chat and crack smart ass comments about Stooley.
Yeah. You know, you just be kicking your own ass, right?
Yeah. And see, yeah.
So long as you're aware.
Everybody's always talking about Farr having stolen the lease for the bar and somehow thinking that means it's her bar now. Well, she can think that if she wants. We'll see what she's like opening the bar. It seems like it's all glamorous until you actually have to do the work of wiping up the vomit and throwing out the drunks.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we go bye-bye now.
All right.
Thanks everybody for joining us. I'll see you next week. Same time, same place, same honor, same face. Bye, bitches.
Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for the donations. You guys are so generous. Woo!
Yeah.